passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so Nuroff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the round pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round number 3 of the Premier Endurance League Gamer Gear Direct Australian GT3 Endurance Championships. Round number 3 coming to you live from the Motorsport Arena, Oschersleben. And my name is Scotty Rankin alongside of Jimmy Parfitt. It's been a little while since I've been in the comms box here with you. Unfortunately, Jimmy, life does get in the way a few times, but I'm glad to be back here and glad to be back for a trip to Germany. I think one of the biggest challenges when you come to this circuit is the size of the grid that we certainly have. A little bit of a narrow circuit. I don't necessarily think that it works all that well with cars that have a lot of ABS and traction control. It's one of those circuits that when you pinch a brake, the risk of running very, very wide is very high, and then that's sort of how the moves are set up. It's lovely, actually. Not too bad track to go racing in Porsche Cup cars for all of those risks. Toyota 86 is phenomenal style of racing. But yeah, it's going to be a difficult one here tonight. I think GT3 racing doesn't necessarily mesh well with it.
No.
What that does do for us, though, is it opens up necessarily the strategy options. That does mean that fuel saving and being able to keep somebody behind you, that's actually a potential from the strategy.
Yeah, I think it will be. I think they're going to be playing this a lot by ear with this strategy situation. It's going to be whether or not they're going to look at just running it straight out and then going into the pits, or what they're going to do. And obviously it depends on what the safety car situation will be, whether or not we'll have one, who's going to be involved, what the situation will be, whether or not we're going to get it called, when is it going to get called as well. Because at the end of the day, as we know, the date of, the time of it being called could be around the pit stop window. So there's a lot involved at the moment, and until technically we know anything, and at the moment we don't know nothing. So I think from our point of view, it's going to be interesting to keep an eye and watch and see how they get on and what the situation will be.
Yeah, and at the moment, Dean Mackay has managed to put his Porsche on pole position as it currently stands for both of the classes for tonight's racing action. Isaac Curtis looks to be the leader of the Challenger class drivers. He's actually managed to qualify that car inside of the top 10 as well. Been a little bit of a shake-up in terms of the championship standings compared to where we were last series. And from your Challenger class, Jamie Saxon's actually leading the way in terms of Challenger class standings currently, which is good to see. From the elite class standings, it's actually been Dean Mackay who's led the way thus far. But there's only a 20-point gap at the top end of the table for the elite drivers. Eli Donaldson and Rain Campbell both chasing him down. Alan Dawson not too far back in fourth place as well. That leaves the championship standings incredibly wide open. What about the team's championships results as well? Twitchy Foot Racing lead the way, but it's not all that far, and with multiple cars in the offing for points, those gaps open and close very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things with this as well. Rain Campbell taking the win last time out in Mazzano. You've got Jamie Saxon taking the victory last time out for the Challengers. So I think this is going to be really open all the way through. I don't think this is going to be a closed series. Maybe if maybe if Jamie can get a win here and then maybe a win at the next one at round 4, then we're starting to think, okay, he's opened up a big old gap. It's going to be difficult for anybody to really try and get hold of him. But in the elites, it's a completely different story. And I think that with Dean Mackay, Eli Donaldson, Rain Campbell, Alan Dawson, Stuart Shaw, any of them ones can really take that victory. But they've got to try at some point to stay in front of Dean Mackay. That's going to be the big thing. And Eli Donaldson could do it. Can Rain Campbell repeat his win last time out? There's a lot involved in the championship, and right now, where we're only on round 3, our predictions could go completely out the window.
Yeah, drop rounds as well to come into the standings. And don't forget as well, we're going to be heading to Detroit Belle Isle for a Detroit Grand Prix next time out. That always throws a spanner amongst things. Portimao will make for round number 5. Round number 6 is going to be from Magny-Cours, really phenomenal circuit right in the heart of France. And then we'll be finishing up at the classic boot at the Watkins Glen International Circuit, home of American road course racing, and has been for a long, long time home of a very famous Marcus Ambrose NASCAR win as well. So there's a lot to do in the next few months before the end of the year, and that presents drivers with a huge opportunity to bank some points. First and foremost, though, they're going to have to survive here tonight. The Motorsport Arena Oschersleben, about a 1 minute and 24, 1 minute 25 second lap time under racing conditions. Well, in qualifying, 1 minute 22.789 was the pole position lap for Dean Mackay. So he's the only driver to drop into the 1 minute 22s, and again, Porsche Power back on top.
Yeah, but you know how I feel about Porsche, Scotty. They can drive them for 50 laps to do the same thing. Lap 51, it will try and kill you. You know, so let's just see what happens in and around that. We've got, you know, an Audi of Rain Campbell up there, the Ford of Trent Allen. Then we've got a couple of Porsches, a few Ferraris, a couple of more Audis. The McLarens up there, leading McLaren of Dave Roberts at the moment for FRG. He's in 12th overall in the warm-up, so we'll have to see how he gets on and what the situation is going to be with the new McLaren. It looks a lovely car. I haven't driven the machine as of yet within iRacing, but it definitely does look gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, late debut as well, of coming right at the end of week 13. You know, not in the early phases of things, means that it's probably had a little bit less testing time, a little bit less opportunity for the drivers to get behind the wheel of it. Dave Roberts jumping on board to have a crack. I'll actually be commentating with Dave Roberts tomorrow night on the Australian Formula 4 series as well, so it's good to see him behind the wheel in the FRG McLaren, and good to see him jumping out of the commentary box and getting an opportunity to get behind the wheel as well. So it's all to do for the drivers. We bid adieu to the previous generation of the McLaren. It's onwards and upwards with the latest and greatest in sim racing. Latest and greatest sim racing affiliations, effectively. I mean, it's been really, really well supported across in IMSA this season as well, and the McLaren branding. It's always growing right around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the more they're bringing in, you know, the more we're seeing. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's probably people out there raging and ranting the fact that we've got another GT3 and they want to see more a variation of new cars that are out currently at the moment, especially TCRs, you know. But at the end of the day, this is what we've got and this is what these guys are dealing with. And I think they've just got to kind of say, okay, fair one, we've got another GT3, but please, next season, can we get some new TCRs or something like that?
I mean, I guess the biggest thing is trying to get the entire roster of the GT3s on, which, I mean, they're as close as they're going to get at the moment. Pole position time is now, like we said, Dean Mackay is going to be from the top end of the field. Starting off alongside of him will be Stuart Shaw. Trent Allen and Rain Campbell are going to make up row number 2. Daniel Magri from Tommy Wallace are going to be on row number 3. Row number 4, Glenn Arnott and Isaac Curtis will be alongside of him. Like we mentioned, first of the Challenger class drivers. Phenomenal qualifying effort for the Porsche driver there. Owen Coleman a little bit further back than he necessarily would have liked. James Mason will be alongside of him, rounding out the 10. Outside the 10, we're going to be looking at Sam Chapman and Vinnie Newen. From there back, we'll have Eli Donaldson and Richard Mayer. The next of the Challenger class drivers is going to be on the next row. Alongside of Alan Dawson is Mitchell Hobbs. Daniel Finney out of 17th, and Andrew Dutch not happy with his qualifying all the way down at 18th. Adam Jepson and Matthew Scholes out of 19th and 20th, rounding out our top 20. Rue Koistra and Alfonso Latella, the first of the cars outside of there. Nick Bottrell and Eric Fenson are going to be 23rd and 24th. We'll throw it over the page. Third place in Challenger class, Benjamin Brook from Jamie Saxon. Saxon leading the way at this point in time. Dave Roberts in that new McLaren we were just having a look at, off alongside of Greg Brooks all the way back in 28th. 29th is going to be Adrian Gretsch. Brock Kadai will be out of 30th, and then we get back outside the 30 to Mark Foster, which is where we start to see the bulk of our Challenger class drivers. Martin Hallinan and Jesse McMenamin are going to be from there on back, 17th row of the grid. We'll have Dean Hunt on it, alongside of him. Ricky Provenzali was not very happy. I was actually having a quick chat with him just before the stream. Not happy, couldn't get the car dialed in, not driving the way that he necessarily wants today. Bobby Camo is going to be out at 36, starting from the pit lane. Rob Edwards and Kurt Nommensen out of the 19th row of the grid. 39th and 40th is, going to be Kurt Nommensen is the other 39th. 40th is going to be that of Matt McCamley. And 41st will be Chris Withers. 44th and 45th, we're having some issues there. Pace car drivers out of 42nd, Leith McClellan at 43rd, Ben Jeffrey 44th, and Stefan Mellis from the rear of the field.
Yeah, nice big old full grid for us here as well, and it could be an exciting one, I think, Scotty, with this amount of cars on there, and we'll just have to play it by ear and see how we get on, because I think whether or not we're going to get everybody finished, it could be a different story altogether.
I think more than 40 cars on this track is a challenge. That is a big, big challenge, and that'll be something we ask the drivers. Minute 24 seconds means effectively when they spread out, you're going to have one car about every 2 seconds on racetrack. So, yeah, there's going to be lap traffic will be a big part of the race at the tail end.
Yeah, absolutely. And back markers are back markers, right? And you've just got to make use of them and get through and hopefully for the best and not cause any dramas, which is what we don't want to see.
Well, we are on the run down the back straightaway. You can see the tyre warming kicking off in the background. And these guys are getting excited, getting ready for a race start. It's going to be 2 hours worth of racing action to come in just a few moments when we see that green flag set to fly. And having a look up and down the field, JP, at this point in time, anyone that you're sort of sitting here and going, yeah, look, I'll probably take a favourite on him here tonight?
I'd love to see Glenn Arnott go up, because I think, obviously, seeing how he gets on in the new McLaren, I think, to be honest, Isaac Curtis looks very, very quick, but we're just about to go green.
Yeah, indeed we are. They're running out of the final corner and they're all going to go green, and look at them fall wide before we even get to the start-finish line. It's starting of round number 3 for Premier Endurance League on the back half of 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, settle yourself down in for 2 hours worth of racing action for Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. They're down through 1, they're down through 2. And now it's the short shoot on the run down to turn 3. Keeping these cars balanced and in position is going to be difficult. And Rain Campbell was the big winner. He slotted himself from 4th on the grid up to 3rd and still looking to climb down. Magri's managed to grab a spot as well. Stuart Shaw, out of all that, the big loser from 2nd, back down to about 6th.
Yeah, Stuart Shaw lost 4 places on that start there, did not manage to get that off the line, and then he was just kind of all out of sorts in the middle of it, unfortunately for the Porsche driver. Glenn Arnott not up any positions, is where he was. Of course, Dean McKay got the jump straight at the beginning as well. He left him standing and did an absolute epic run, and he was gone already. So it's now everybody catching up, and somebody's off in the background.
Yeah, there's 2 cars off in the background, one of the Ferraris and one of the BMWs as well. So spinning out in the background, not necessarily started the way that they would have liked. And Dean Mackay has gotten out there, and I think it might be actually Jimmy Middleton who's already in it.
There's quite a few, I think. Bobby Kamara, Eric Fenson, both of them coming out the pits. They've obviously been rather slow, but here's obviously Jimmy in that black Mustang there. And, catches it. Did he catch anybody else? Oh, yes.
Oh,
That was Matt McCamley in there as well, unfortunately for Matt. So Jimmy, yeah, safety car is in the pits. Now, whether or not he's going to be out on track,
I can tell you has now just been deployed, so they're just calling that one. They were just waiting for them to group up. They're having a little bit of a look, and unfortunately for Jimmy Middleton, is still parked up on the side of the road. I was still trying to get a tracker going of who it was that maybe spun around, and then Dawson's tumbled from 15th on the grid all the way back down to 36. I think it might have been him and James Mason. Yeah, it was. Mason was the BMW.
yeah.
That we did see tumbling through the order. That was the 2 cars off in the gravel trap at the kink heading onto the back straight.
It's been a bit of a little bit of a chaotic start on there, isn't it, really? And I think now they've just got to kind of make sure they can get the cars and get it up and running. There is the safety car. Should be coming around to pick them up very, very shortly there as well. Rain Campbell, Rankin needs sleep, he said in YouTube chat. Well, yeah, we are aware of that. On that one, Sean Bonici, let's go boys. And Trent Deeves in YouTube chat, Jetson will crash out first lap. Wow. No.
No, he's actually doing okay. He's actually gained a spot in the first lap, so you take what you can get sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. You grab what you can, can't you, at the end of the day? There is the printracer.net safety car there as well. You can go and check them out at printracer.net, funny enough. So go and have a look at that. And that'd be absolutely amazing as they're coming around now. There's the leaders, and they're going to start picking them up very, very shortly.
Indeed they are, and we'll try and get this one out of the way very, very quickly. Everyone's already formed up, so I think it may only be the 1 lap under safety car here. But for Dean Mackay, I might take a few fuel question marks just out of the race. Alternatively, could put them back in.
Yeah, I think they're going to see what they've got to do, haven't they, really, Scotty? They've got to see whether or not they're going to fuel save all the way round, what the situation's going to be. Are they going to be lifting and coasting? You know, keep it in a high gear? Just rev it, let it go again, you know, and let it roll. So, yeah, it could be an interesting one.
Yeah, it won't be easy. And, well, for now, it's just gather them all back up. You can see immediately Dean Mackay is into 6th gear in that Porsche. How does it shut down as much as physically able? And from memory, they actually took away the engine mappings out of most of these cars. They used to have a safety car mapping, actually, so, but I just don't think they do anymore to save that little bit of extra fuel.
Has it still got the ability to clutch in?
No, I think they've taken that one away as well. I'm just having a look. There's throttle shaping on the Mustang, but there's no no engine map.
Oh,
They used to have multiple different engine maps for all the cars where you'd just be able to put it into safety car mode, basically shut it down, very, very little fuel.
Yeah, you can see Rain Campbell's in 5th, Allen's in 4th, Magri's in 6th, Wallace in 6th, Shuey Shaw's in 6th, Gled Arnott is in 4th, Isaac Curtis in 6th. So they're all at it all the way through the field at the moment.
Yeah, every opportunity to save fuel.
Oh, yeah. Take it if you can get it, mate, because to be honest, it don't come by very often. So, yeah, grab it and save as much as you possibly can. What has gone on towards the back end of the field? Oh, they're just all very, very slow at the moment. Very slow. Any ideas, Scotty, why they're so slow?
I don't know. Somebody's obviously not necessarily watching what's going on.
Yeah, checked up, and then obviously everybody's bunched up right behind them. It's spread them all out now. You can see the cars right the way back through to the chicane on the backside of the track map. So, no maps and clutch under 40 miles an hour, says Sean Bonici. Wow.
Yep. Righto, so they'll be green back after this lap, which, yeah, I was just thinking probably only need for one circuit out of safety car, but they've done the extra lap, so burn through a few extra minutes worth of racing, so.
There wasn't any wave arounds or anything like that. We have got the 43 Jimmy out the back there. So Jimmy's there in that black Mustang with a nice slogan on the front.
Yeah, I believe it says fudge cancer.
Yeah, that's exactly what it says. So on that one, as we go back up front with Dean Mackay still locked in behind that safety car. And there will be green next time around. So looking forward to getting this one up and running. Hopefully we can last a little bit longer than a couple of laps before we have any problems whatsoever here. Scotty, any prediction or you think who's going to take the victory?
I mean, Mackay having the lead of the race is it's track position at this place. You just want to have it at the right time. So the big key will be staying on sequence to everyone else on strategy. He's got the lead. The Mustang's difficult to pilot because it's very, very quick in a straight line. But the problem for it is it tends to get a little bit loose in the rear. So being consistent with the Mustang's not the easiest. You can't really show the straight line speed of the Mustang anywhere around here. So it's basically going to come down to qualifying. You needed to have a good qualifying set, needed to have the good lap. He's done that. So, yeah, Dean Mackay's pretty much going to be the driver to beat all night long.
I don't know. I do like Rain Campbell in that Audi. I don't know what it is about that. I don't know. Rain, obviously, last time out, Mazzano did well, but we are just about to go back under green there with Dean Mackay, with Trent Allen in second.
And for Dean, will lead us into the final corner. He's going to hold and back him up, I think. Nope. Waited until just past the apex out of the final corner. And has gone green flag racing on the run down to turn number one. Not opting to grab a little bit of a toe there was Trent Allen. He's looking to try and cover off, I think, from Rain Campbell just in behind him. there's been an issue towards the tail end of the field. Dave Roberts, unfortunately, looks like he's got a few issues. And Matt Skulls is now requiring a tow on the front straightaway as well. I think he's off to the right-hand side. Either way, there's a little bit of an issue in that one.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they've gone and each other here.
Oh, look at the checkup in behind him.
Yeah, they're 4 wide further back. So clearly something went on before.
Oh.
They got there. Jepson's already smoking. There's a bumper off a McLaren there as well.
Dave Roberts right there. That's Dave Roberts. We said Dave Roberts was on the radio to race control just a few moments ago, and that was his McLaren that just shot through the front end of that shot. And I do want to point out that there was actually a call of Jepson will crash out in the first lap from Trent Teves. Well, he crashed out at the end of the second lap of racing, so close. Wasn't too far off.
Safety car again.
Yeah.
So far
this one should be much quicker.
Lap 1 and lap 3. I'm going to try and find out where that was there, because that's confusing me as to why all of a sudden we got people without bumpers, and I'm wondering if it's in this little chaotic section. There's a lot of people that have apparently crashed out here, so I'm going to try and see. Excuse me while I try and find out. There's the 2 main protagonists in what's just gone on.
This is, I think, just before the restart.
Oh.
There we go.
Jepson's engine gone as well.
It's all kicked off ahead of them. They've not really had much of an opportunity to sort of back out of it.
Yeah, and unfortunately it was on that one after that drama, but I'm wondering if we can go back just a tad. Let's see. There's Rue Koistra in there. Did he?
What is going on?
Oh, I don't know who that. The problem. Right, I'm going to do something that I don't normally do, but we cannot actually decipher this whatsoever on this one.
So it's ahead of Rue for sure.
So there's Richard Mayer. There's Eli Donaldson. Oh, and then everybody comes in behind, I think.
So what happens is that there's a sort of a little bit of a hole that forms on the run down the last corner, and then they all check up to about 65 kph. But the problem is, everyone else behind has seen the green flag symbol, and they've gone already.
Yeah. And then before you know it, everybody's into the back end. It was like a massive checkup, wasn't it? And then it's just, unfortunately, everybody just went in to them. So, yeah, a bit of a shame that we're under safety car again. On currently lap, well, what was the beginning of lap 4, so yeah, not fast moving at the moment, Scotty, are we?
I think it's Sam Chapman that's triggered all of that.
Is it?
Because all of a sudden he just wipes off like 20 Ks in the safety car queue.
See if we can pick up on Sam before.
It's Isaac Curtis. It's Isaac Curtis. It's potentially just ahead of him. It's somebody right around between Isaac Curtis.
Yeah, in and around that middle field.
So it's because it's happened right at the front is the issue.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens in the concertina.
Yep. That's the problem, though. The thing is, you've got so many cars and you've got them so close together. They've got to all go and make sure that that kind of doesn't happen again. You can't be accelerating, brake. You've either... The guys at the back have got to wait to get round that corner, because obviously they get the whole green flag shout, and then everybody starts going, but the people in front aren't even round the corner to be able to go. So they've got to be just a little bit more patient on the restarts and looking back and thinking, okay, well, let's get them round the last corner and then go, because you can't green flag coming into that last corner and then expect everybody to be a god in front of you, because they're just not going to get there.
Yeah, either way, we are where we are in the race. At this point in time, we've lost about 10 minutes worth of racing action, unfortunately, with 2 back-to-back cautions. And we'll see how this one goes. And one of the biggest issues is getting people to maintain speed on safety car restarts. That's sort of what we'll be looking for. In the meantime, looking towards those pit windows, this is going to extend them quite a long way out because we've burned very little fuel here. Tyres are going to be incredibly cold as well.
Well, yeah, they've got to make sure that at the moment they haven't kind of burnt a lot, have they? If, you know, they would have burnt a couple of laps and that's about it. But they've got to be aware that, you know, they've got to still got 70% fuel. They should be able to go to the top of the hour at least. Can they extend it further to make it a one-stop? Well, time's going to tell on how much they can save in behind these cars, behind the safety car, I should say, because otherwise it's still going to make it a two-stop. But we're bordering on the line of only just a two-stop. So it's going to be very touch and go on whether or not somebody can get there in one. And of course, let's hope none of them run out of fuel.
Yeah, well, there's going to be, a lot of issues potentially on this restart, and I can see another little bit of a concertina starting to form. There's another little bit of a gap in the middle of the pack, and it looks like we got away with this one this time. So
this is the problem. Look, check all the way down. You know, maintain a speed, and we're at it again. Look. But
either way, we're going to be green out of the final corner. And here we go. Dean Mackay on the run out of turn number 1. And he will lead us away nice and convincingly. The next little group of cars are 2x2 as they run out of turn number 1. Having a go and already around. Front 3 have not made turn 1. And there's already been a huge incident. And now Ryan Campbell has slotted his way back into second place. God, we're going to need to have another look at that as well.
Yeah, Trent Allen.
And for Trent Allen.
Did he come across his nose on the exit?
He doesn't make the apex. He misses the curbing. You've got to be on the curbing when you tip into turn 1.
So, yeah, unfortunately he's in, but Dean Mackay benefited from that. 1.9 seconds out in front at the moment. Rain Campbell in second. Tommy Wallace in third. Stewie Shaw in there as well. Isaac Curtis doing a great job. Gain positions, but he hasn't really overtaken anybody, but he's up 2 spots, sitting in 6th overall in the Challenger class. So, great job from these guys. And Isaac Curtis doing well at the head of the Challenger, 2.1 seconds ahead of his nearest rival.
Yeah, and the Challenger class is going to be an interesting one for Isaac Curtis. Things have gone okay. He's managed to survive through the opening couple of stands, sixth place on the road at the moment. There's a huge opportunity for him to put a whole bank of points together. Mitchell Hobbs has cut his way through the field, sits 12th on the road in that Ferrari as well. So, Leah, like you said, doing a phenomenal job as it currently stands. 25.992 from Benjamin Brook puts him to the fastest lap of the race. For Challenger class at the moment. But in the meantime, Mackay's going to lead him away, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, he's doing a great job out in front. You can see on the left-hand side there, 125.318 from Dean Mackay, fastest lap of the race. Rain Campbell's in second place with Tommy Wallace still chasing him down in third. There's some interesting battles all the way through the field. We've got some pros that are well out of shape at the moment. Right the way down from Dawson, Jepson, Gretsch, Koistra. Now they're sitting down in 33rd, 4th, 5th and 6th respectively, of course, but they're well out of where they would normally be. They're down 15, 19, 16, 17, 7 and 18 places. So they've lost a big old bunch. at the beginning of this race. So you're going to see it on the left-hand side there. So they're going to be looking at coming through as well. And it looks like Isaac Curtis, unfortunately... Stay, you're going to get... Oh.
Well, I mean, where were supposed to go? The car behind just basically drove nearly back into him, and another Porsche's gone around in the background. The Frog Leap Juice Machine, I think that might have been Tina Hunt, who was just facing in the wrong direction.
Where did you go off, Mr. Curtis? Because you're not showing up. You went off here. So there's Benjamin Brook going off.
Tell you what, he might have got a little help.
Brook definitely got help. Loose. Yeah, but he was trying to avoid Curtis, wasn't he?
Well, Curtis got helped around. I think it might have been Owen Coleman maybe that turned him.
Yeah, because he goes off just in front of us here.
But anyway, is what it is for the meantime. It's Brock trying to dodge the incident. Unfortunately, does see it and manages to avoid it. But yeah, unfortunately for James Mason, didn't quite read the situation all that well. Either way, that'll be looked at, I'm sure. But for the meantime, they've got to keep their eyes up, see what they can get done.
Yeah, Stewie Shaw's sitting in fourth, down 2 places, chasing down Tommy Wallace in front. Glenn Arnott tucked him right behind him there currently as well. The overalls you can see on the left-hand side, there's a lot of people in and around in each other. Vinny and Guyon, Eli Donaldson, Sam Chapman, all in this mix as well. Sam in that Porsche, Eli in the Audi, and Vinny in the Porsche behind him. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys get on and start making their way through the field as they're coming into the left-hander now before they're going on to that long right-hander. Scotty, I think at the end of the day, it's going to be interesting to see what they do now. Are they going to be pushing for positions? Are they going to be pushing to try and make up as many spots as possible before the pit stop window? Now they've saved a good old bunch of fuel at the beginning of this race. It's going to be really, really interesting. We're going to be on bordering line touch or go or one stop, I think, and it'd be dependent on who's going to be brave enough to try and save fuel throughout the race.
I think that is really interesting to note as well is the amount of guys with slowdown penalties as they come through into that back sector. You can cut the chicane before you come into the back straight and pick yourself up a slowdown penalty. And Sam Chapman and Richard Mayer both picked one up on that lap. They're right next to each other on the road. Well, that has allowed Vinny Nguyen to slip on through in the Frog Leap Porsche. So he's at least picked up a spot.
Yeah, sitting in 8th at the moment, Donaldson and Chapman there in behind. You can see 2 wide further back. Jamie Saxon is on the back end of that. That's Greg Brooks and Brooke Kadai, and Greg has just gone through on Brooke, making up 1 slot. It looks like Martin Hanlon has had a bit of a moment further back. Unfortunately for Martin, he's dropped down the field, flagged up that he's had a little bit of a ta-ta-ta. Whether or not was it with himself for Martin Hanlon, and that's going to be the interesting question in that Ferrari. His Ferrari's already damaged by the looks of that, and unfortunately it was as he's gone into the pit lane for Martin Hanlon. So straight in, had an incident right by the pit lane entrance, and took an opportunity to go straight in.
Oh, I mean, he's already going to be losing a whole bunch of time, and it looks like he's in the pit window for his strategy to get through to the end of the race. So took an opportunity when it presented itself.
Yep.
But for the meantime, I want to have a look at who our biggest movers and shakers are at the moment, because I'm having a look at Jamie Saxon. I'm showing as plus 13 spots. Greg Brooks in behind him plus 14, and I think it was Brock Kadai is up 15 spots as well. So there's a number of drivers that have really been able to make a lot of overtakes in the first half of this race.
Yeah, but there's been a lot of incidents as well. So it's whether or not we're looking that they've made up places on the racetrack as overtakes, or they've benefited from what's gone on in and around them. And I think probably the majority of it could be benefiting from what's gone on in and around them. But still, a good old game there as well. You can see Ben Jeffrey's up 20 places. Magri down 18, so everybody in and around where Dan Magri was, they would have gained places from that. So it's whether or not they're conditional race places, Scotty, or whether or not they've made them up due to the incidents and accidents that's gone in and around them.
And Dean Hunt's actually having a nice night as well. He's also gained about 14 spots, so he won't be too upset with the early running of things. In the meantime, inside of 20th spots, so doing a reasonable job is Dean. And I want to say a big shout out to Dean, who's celebrating the birth of his first daughter as well. So just become a parent. And he was worried his time for sim racing might be becoming a little bit limited. I got my first opportunity to commentate alongside of him a couple of weeks ago as well. So, yeah, celebrating a very, very momentous occasion in his life as things shuffle about a little bit for Dean Hunt.
You know, children always make a good old point of interrupting life schedules, partly due to the fact that babies, they're not even on a schedule, so it's up and down whenever they need it, and that's the best way to probably be, to be blatantly honest with you, and try and get yourself settled in. But they're always going to interrupt that here as well, and at the end of the day, for Mitch Hobbs, Jamie Saxon and Dan Finney, they've got to start just trying to fight in and around them. Mitch leading the challenger class, Saxon in behind him, last time winner at Misano in that Ferrari. Going to be interesting to see how he copes with the likes of Greg Brooks, Brooke Kadai and James Mason. The elites in behind them is picking that situation that we talk about here, Scotty, as well. Is it worth fighting? Is it not worth fighting? Penalty on the screen there as well. 800 car Matt Scholes, Rue Koister during restart. Incident 11, racing incident for car. I don't know. I think we need to get a little bit more spaces on that penalty message there.
So, contact during the restart between Matt Scholes and Rue Koister was considered a racing incident. So, no further action is basically the call for that one. Dave Roberts and Jesse McMenamin on lap 2 was also ruled no further action. So, that's the only two incidents that I've sort of got that have been covered off at this point in time. But they're still going through and having a look at a few of them. There's one that's just popped up for Jimmy Middleton that he's called in as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that was Jimmy all on his own, or was there somebody else involved in that? Whoa. Is he going to come back? Ah, he is, and then get dragged across the front of the 275 Audi. Unfortunately for Jimmy on that one, that Audi does look a little bit battered on there, as we try and find out who.
Was it the 225? I think it would be the 225.
It could have been Bottrell, wasn't it? Yeah, him and Bottrell having a bit of a moment. So we'll wait and see what that comes out on that one. But you can see Bottrell's got no bumper. The Porsche front's got no bumper either. That's Mick McCamley as they went flying off, of course. Then you've obviously got the added thing on with parts flying off the car at the moment. Obviously that can cause damage to your car if you hit them. So there's a lot of things that these drivers are going to be aware of, and flying bumpers seems to be the thing at the moment.
There's been a few bits and pieces flying around, unfortunately, thus far tonight. Trent Allen, I think, has managed to get back out there one lap down, as is Martin Hallinan, but I think Matt Scholes might be just done for the day. So that's our first retirement of tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, Matt Scholes is out on that one. You can see there, Wayne Campbell caused an instant drive-through penalty for car number 92, Wayne Campbell on lap 8, caused an incident, black 92 drive-through penalty for the 92 car. So basically, Wayne Campbell's got a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, for Trent Allen, contact with Trent Allen. So that was an incident on the restart that we saw. They put Trent into the fence.
Yep, in that Ford. So keep an eye out and see what Rain's going to do and where he comes out in and around that situation. Stewie Shaw, Tommy Wallace having a nice little battle. Sam Chapman and Richard Mayer trying to close the gap up on them on 1.5 seconds. And you've got Dan Finney, who's got Mitch Hobbs, Jamie Saxon, Greg Brooks, Brooke Kadai, and James Mason all in as they group up as here. And then we've got the challengers of Isaac Curtis, Foster Hunt, and McMenamin with Ben Jeffrey, and of course Ricky Provenzali there on the racetrack, juggling children at the moment as well with Ricky. So there's a lot been going on. A lot of babies in Australia this season.
Well, it is coming into spring, I suppose. This is all the babies from Christmas time last year, really, if you think about it.
Yes, it is. September, October. It will be.
Yeah.
Christmas, New Year. Clearly, there's a pattern, everyone. There's a pattern. Rain Campbell dives into the bits for his drive-through. Stewie Shaw, Tommy Wallace carry on. Owen Coleman in behind with Glegor not behind that as well. And I do want to have a look inside that McLaren. Look at that. It just looks gorgeous, even inside the car, doesn't it? It kind of gives you that immersive, I'm in the McLaren feeling.
I really like the dash on board of it too. It's just, yeah, it does just suck you in a little bit as well. And the tyre display, I'm a big fan of the dash display. This has actually been the first opportunity I've had to really break down the nuts and bolts of new McLaren. I haven't had an opportunity to drive it yet. I haven't had an opportunity to drive anything for a good while. So, yeah, I mean, looks good. And that's always the first part and parcel of it. Fords looked good, sounded good, and became very, very difficult to drive. But the McLaren seems a lot more stable.
Yeah, it's interesting out the three of the cars that have come out. We've obviously had the Mustang, the Corvette, and the McLaren. The Corvette can be a little bit rear-end happy. That's without a shadow of a doubt on that one, and I've driven it. It could be the fact of my driving, Scotty, let's be honest about it as well. But it does seem quite rear happy on that one. The McLaren looks a little bit more stable. The Mustang is a little bit more kind of house-bricked on wheels, but it's got pace all day, but it's a little bit of a hairy, scary car in the corners. So they've all got their little overall perks and quirks, but I'd probably say that the new McLaren is probably the most stablest one out of all of them.
Why was I not surprised? When presented with the two American cars and a British car, the Brit chooses the British car.
Well, you know, I can't help it.
I knew exactly, as soon as we started talking about all three, I was like, you watch, you'll pick the British car.
The thing is, it is, isn't it?
I know.
Come on, tell me any different.
No, I'm not going to tell you any different. I don't think that you've picked the McLaren based upon those statistics, but I just said you watch.
Yeah.
I think you'd be honest with me.
Look, I've got to be, having driven the Vet, having spoken to people in the Mustang, and not seeing what I've been seeing out of Corvettes and Mustangs coming from the McLaren in the races that I've commentated on, I've got to go with the McLaren. There's not a lot of other options that I've got there, Scotty, unfortunately.
I just like that it does still backfire a little bit. You know, that was the biggest thing about the old McLaren, was that we got flames shooting out the exhaust pipes. We do still have flames shooting from the pipes. They're just not as egregious as they previously were. And some will love it, some will hate it. I think the more fire, the better. But hey,
I agree.
It is what it is.
I agree. I think the flaming your marshmallows out the back on the McLaren exhaust was just, you know, it was absolutely amazing when you've seen it. So I think the more flames, the better. I'm in that one at the same time, to be honest with you. But James Mason sitting in the Brooke. Goes off track there, and Mason does manage to make it through. But Mason sitting in the old reliable almost, the BMW.
It's hard to think that car was brought out before it was actually launched in real life, as with the same as now happened to the GT4 BMW as well. So, but yeah, that was a couple of years ago now. And just watching Rain Campbell's already served his drive-through penalty, starting to try and cut his way back through the field, was just fighting along with Ben Jeffrey in and around the 20th spot at this point in time. It's worthwhile keeping half an eye on, because he's really trying to drive his way back through. Meantime, race leader Dean Mackay might be an opportunity to go on board for a lap with Dean.
Yeah, I've just seen that as well, trying to nail up. Take us on for a full lap on board, lads. So there you go, Scotty, on board with a leader.
I think I'm just going to sit back, relax, and let Dean take us for a lap. I think we'll take a break for about a minute and 30 seconds. Well, we'll say thank you to Dean Mackay for taking us on board for a lap of Motorsports Arena Oschersleben. And time to check a little bit further down that pack. I'd love to go and check in with the battle, like I said, for Ryan Campbell. At this point in time, because there's a four-way battle pack just sort of forming in and around 17th spot on the road, I think it is. Yeah, there he is. So sits 15th in class, but 21st on the road overall at this point in time, and you can just see this is a really tied up together battle pack. I think Dean Hunt's actually the lead car in this pack.
Yeah, he is at the moment. He is in the moment. It's in with Boz in front of him, and then Dean in front of that. So Dean is leading this pack of cars there. You can see on the overall on the left-hand side, Dean Hunt is off the side of the circuit.
Yeah, that's not an opportune time to check in with Dean. Either way, Ryan Campbell's going to go ahead and grab one spot. Dean's going to try and feed his way back in here at the tail end of this pack. Ahead of Ricky Provenzali. Provenzali trying to go the long way around down at turn 7. Eventually slot themselves back in. Looks like he's struggling just a little bit, and you mentioned it with the rear end of that Corvette. It looks well done up in the Frog Leap colours, actually. I do like that livery.
Yeah, I've got one made a nice yellow and black livery on my Corvette that I had made for me, and it does look good and it looks mean, but you've just got to... I find it's very much Mercedes based. It's you've got to treat it how you would the Merc. It's a Netflix and chill. It's not take her out, take her clubbing and bring her home at 4 in the morning. It's more of a sit down with it, treat it nice, go to buy her a drink, be gentle with her, because you can't go and do the things that you would normally do in other cars for Dean Hunt. It's got to be treating it nice, gentle on the throttle. She's don't like spinning up either, so you've got to do all these things in the Corvette, and the same with the Merc, but there's just a lot more to it in the Vet.
Well, for the meantime, he's lost a couple spots just outside 22nd on the road, but still doing reasonably well in class. Are you getting a recommendation for more dating advice, please, if you can, JP?
Just be nice, boys. That's all you got to remember, is be nice. You know what I mean? Treat her nice. Cook at meal, candles, table, you'll be all good.
A good racing car likes to be listened to from time to time too.
Yeah, pretend that you're listening.
If you can actually listen, that's bonus points. That's where you're in the good books. Bit like tyres, really. You got to listen to those. Becoming a tyre whisperer is becoming a more and more interesting art. I'm interested to see how Jesse McMenamin can go now. And the Frog Leap juiced Ferrari that's got to the pointy end of this battle pack. Ryan Campbell's still trying to get closer and closer to the McLaren. Ahead of him of Ben Jeffrey.
Tell you what, if he keeps bumping it over that curb like that, it's not going to be a good idea. It looks like Nick Bottrell has just had a big old moment for poor old Nick there as well. So it's coming out of the pit. I think it's picking up that when they go round, this pit lane is horrible. Go round to the left, there you've got to be hard on the brakes for almost a 90-degree turn, and I think it's just picking up that people are having incidents coming out of the pit lane on that one due to their speed. So we'll ignore a couple of them going forward.
Dave Roberts is off the track again.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a nightmare. His name's popped up quite a few times, Scotty. I don't really want to compound his misery any longer, as Jesse McMenamin is side by side with Mark Foster on the run down into turn 1.
I'm just watching. Roberts has actually stopped at the moment. Yeah, in the meantime, you're right. McMenamin's going to have someone having a go at him here in just a few moments. And it's not all walked. Whoa! Who is that car that's rounded turn 1?
It could have been.
It's Bottrell. It is actually Nick Bottrell. Yep.
Did he actually just go and do it in turn 1 this time?
It used to be cold tyres.
Yeah, he's just come out of the pit lane, hasn't he? We've just seen him literally come out of the pit lane on that one. Jace Douglas, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. And there we go. Do I need to say my point exactly, Scotty?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the Audi on cold. Oh, there's another huge moment. I think it's Alfonso Latella is sat on the side of the road at the moment. Drive-through penalty was just issued to Owen Coleman. So remember that moment that we saw for Isaac Curtis? That was a drive-through penalty issued for that one. So Alfonso Latella is going to tell the replay. Is going to tell the story.
Coming round on him all day. Too fast for Latella on that in that Corvette, mate. Too fast. You saw the back end already sliding as he come around the corner. And unfortunately for Alfonso Latella, that's the problem. Owen Coleman is in pit lane. Now we've still got this mixed battle in the middle. Dan Finney is in there with the Odyssey Racing of Mitch Hobbs and Jamie Saxon in behind. So these guys having a nice little battle. Rui Koistra's been and had an incident. Nick Bottrell looks like he's gone around again. As I say, I'm not going to keep compounding Nick's misery. He clearly is not getting on with this race circuit. And Jesse McMiniman, Ben Jeffrey, Rain Campbell, Dan Magri now all involved as they're coming all to blows on going on that run through Hasselrode down into the triple.
Ooh, Rui Koistra's just made contact with Nick Bottrell. That's how Bottrell ended up off the track, actually. That one's actually not on him. So, yep, here we go. It's all hitting up in and around Jesse McMiniman at this point in time. Sits 17th on the road. And that's where Owen Coleman's fed back out after the drive-through penalty as well. Down in 16th spot.
Almost got to the front of this pack, did Coleman, but he got in behind Foz and Isaac Curtis. So Owen almost made it through the whole pack before then he would have had a little bit more of a clean air situation to be able to go into 14th and move himself forward, but he didn't quite get that clearance on that drive-through, unfortunately for him. Unfortunately, it looks like Jimmy's had a little bit of a moment as well on the racetrack. Magri's in the pit lane. Dean Hunt's in the pit lane currently. So I don't think that should be pit stop sighted, is it?
Potentially. We are past 40 minutes now into the race, so that's 1/3 race distance. So,
but we did have maybe the safety car. They didn't manage to quite save that much then.
Or alternatively, they have, and these guys are coming in the front end of the pit cycle opening.
We're going up the track with Ray Campbell, pushing Jesse McMiniman in front of us there as well.
He has finally managed to get that job done on Jesse McMiniman, but Ben Jeffrey was one of the issues. I was just hearing something from Stefan Mellis as well, and I was wondering whether or not I think he was actually just trying to let someone go. So Campbell's still trying to fight through this battle pack at this point in time. Coleman's just cut his way through and got past Mark Foster. So he'll start looking to try and clear out as much as he possibly can. But Ben Jeffrey coming strong at the end of this stint.
Nick Bottrell is still running. I think we've lost. We're down to 40. I think Fenson is the last. Martin Hanlon is the last runner. Fenson looks like he's out, unfortunately, for Eric Fenson. So, looks like Dean Hunt's had a little bit of a problem. Glenn Arnott is in the mix with Eli Donaldson tucked in right behind him.
There's actually quite a few cars banked up in this one as well. They're all in behind lap traffic at Matt McCamley at the moment, which is where they're up to in terms of things. Martin Hallinan just come out in behind these guys as well.
Yeah, a lot of action taking place. We've got Jeffrey's pack as well, with Foz, Campbell, McMiniman, Provenzali's now in there. Dutch has joined on to the end on that one. Andrew Dutch in that black Mustang as well. Martin Hallinan, Carline contact with Isaac Curtis. No further action on the screen at the bottom there from race control.
Yeah, so There was 5-second penalty issued to Matt Skulls for contact with Nick Bottrell early on. Other than that, that's the drive-through penalty for Coleman. And yeah, no further action on that one. He's just called out as well. So we've had 2 drive-through penalties and 5-second penalty applied. Those are the only 3 penalties we've seen from all the action we've had thus far.
Yeah, it's not too bad, is it, really, when you think about it? Considering we've had 2 safety cars in the mix, and we've had bunching up, we've had checking up, we've had it all over these first few laps. So saying few laps, we're on lap 28 now, over an hour and 15 to go. But there's been so much action, so much partake in everything that's gone on. I'm surprised we haven't had more than that, to be blatantly honest with you. But, you know, hey, touch wood, long shall it continue.
Yeah, that's the nature really of Oschersleben. It's so difficult to get a move done that when you get up and alongside, you sort of got to send it a little bit to try and make sure that you pull the move off, and it does create issues. You're going to see a few interesting things happen, I think, here with the strategy. I would say tyres are definitely needed. Whether or not they need it at both stops and whether or not you need both left and right sides is a big question mark as well. Might just take front tyres at one point as well. We might take 2 tyres at the first stop, or you might take 4 tyres at the second stop. It might just be fronts you take.
Yeah, I think it's playing it by ear. What you're likely to do, I think, as well, is on the first stop maybe take all 4 and then monitor what your tyres were doing. If your tyres on the front were a lot less than what you thought they were, so they might be 90 and you thought they might have been 70, then you know on the next one, okay, well my rears are going to be now 90. My fronts are going to be obviously 90 as well, so maybe I could just change the fronts if I wanted to. Or you might not change any. So I think the first stop I would probably look at maybe going for the new tyre option. While I'm doing that, I would monitor what my temps and what my wear was between the 2 stops to monitor then what I've got to do on the second stop.
Yeah, worthwhile. I think that's probably worth a shout as
he's gonna turn in.
well. There we go.
I weren't sure if he turned him or did Saxon turn in on him.
Wasn't really a hole there it wasn't far enough up.
There's going to be checkups in behind him as well. No, that was the terminology of he got dived there, Scotty. I think that BMW come from a long way. And as you say, there was never a gap there in the process to be taking that space forward. The front guy is starting to spread out a little bit. Then Dean Mackay out front by 5.5 seconds. Stewie Shaw's got 10 seconds back. Tommy Wallace has got 5 seconds. Eli Donaldson, 2.5. Vinny Ngani in there as well. And then James Mason is probably the closest battle, but we think there might be a penalty coming for contact with Jamie Saxon after the incident we've just seen on the screen as well. Stefan Mellis moving himself and removing himself from the problem, and as a back marker and as a blue flag there, removes himself out the way. See, that's how it can be done as a blue flag.
Yeah, it's a good job. And carrying on as well. Unfortunately though, I'm just keeping half an eye on Eli Donaldson as well, trying to keep with Glenn Arnott. More lap traffic sort of in the middle, in the mix at the moment. It's Dean Hunt. Now, one of the issues is that they're sort of just going to keep picking them off. And we said if traffic was going to be a drama, it's going to be a concern. Well, pit strategy, it's also going to add its issues into as well.
You can see the Eli Donaldson flashing Mr. Hunt frantically to try and remove him from the equation. Dean does make it through. Ooh. Not quite sure that Porsche should have been physically stopped to let them through on the racetrack. Might have been a little bit easier, you know, still rolling, maybe. Might not cause yourself too much of a problem there either for the 152 of Withers. So, yeah, probably best not to stop on the racetrack completely, Scotty, when you're trying to let somebody through.
Either way, decision made. He's cleared them now, and that's the big part. He's going to have some more traffic to jump out of the way as well.
Yeah.
So he will do that now, and this pack is still continuing on as well.
I think that's the problem when you start getting lapped. It's a constant in and out, isn't it? You start picking up the pace, then you get caught by another car. Start picking up the pace, then you get caught by another car. And it's always the same, and this is why people generally will say, let's try and avoid being a lap down so we don't have to go through that problem of a slowdown, of speed up, slow down, speed up, slow down, speed up. You know what I mean? Constantly, as that was Isaac Curtis in the Porsche there. He is in and around the Brook, no he's not, he's in and around Greg Brooks in behind him, and as you see that Porsche getting a good old slide on there, Brook not letting him go. He's sitting in right behind him, coming in through now the back run down the Stadium Gerard, Scotty.
Yeah, so doing a reasonable job here to try and track these guys back down after that earlier spin. Here's Isaac Curtis. When we last checked in with him, I think we was only just ahead of Owen Coleman, so he's managed to pass a few more cars. Great job for our Challenger class leader.
Yeah, well, he's got Mitch Hobbs second up the road. Yeah, second, isn't he, at the moment? But in between that, it's Brooke Kadai, James Mason, Dan Finney, and Mitch, of course. So they're all... There's a lot for Curtis to try and go through, as Dan Finney just gets it all wrong. And unfortunately goes off the side of the circuit through Hotel, turn number 2.
Update on James Mason versus Jamie Saxon, as Mason's been given a 10-second penalty for the contact with Jamie Saxon. Which, that was the car that was down to the inside. Saxon was the car that got turned in that arrangement.
Yeah, he did come from a long way. Unfortunately, I can't even vouch for... You know, he just sent it and made it. He'd come from a long way back. But there you go, there's confirmation on there as well. Jamie Saxon, James Mason causing an incident 10-second penalty. So for second penalty for Mr. Mason. As you see, the 33 goes splashing through underneath us there as well. So a lot of action taking place here currently. And Mason flashing Mitch Hobbs, but not that's going to make a lot of bit of a difference. But... just got to try and get up the field as fast as he can, hasn't he?
Yeah, keep moving. Diving into the pit lane is one of those ways that you can create yourself a little bit of an opportunity, and have a look at how late in this one that they're coming, so there will be no saving required. This will just be a straight out sprint to the end.
Yeah. Are they going to have another pit stop though? Is everybody that's pitted before the hour?
No, there's no way they're making an hour on green flag running.
No. Not on 70% fuel limit. Either Minimum and Edwards. There. Having a nice little battle down in the Challenger class. This is 5th and 6th in Challengers for Minimum and Rob Edwards, but neither car has pitted as of yet.
Given that we're actually so close to the hour mark, it might just be one set of tyres for the race too. That's sort of... it's pay to that one. And the other problem with it, JP, is that if you take 2 tyres at the second stop, fuel might not cover it. You might have pace. It'll take a little bit to bring the tyres in, lap and a half, to bring one into the car back in. But yeah, I don't think the fuel will necessarily cover it.
No, I think at the end of the day, Scott, they've got to be really sensible. How many times has we've seen people run out of fuel?
Don't remind Adrian Gretsch.
Exactly. Right? You know, he was 2 foot from the line. There's got to be a certain amount of common sense in what you're doing and driving. You see all these guys starting to come into the pit lane now in front of you. But you've got to be sensible about what you're doing, and driving the car and trying to push it to its limit and saying, oh, will I? Well, you might not. So you commit to something, get it done, go in and stay on that strategy. You start messing around mid-race, you're going to be in trouble. And there's a chance you could end up, unfortunately, like Adrian Gretsch, where you're running out of fuel 3 feet from the line.
Multiple times.
Yes, bless him.
That's the problem.
Yes.
If it had happened once, we wouldn't have even been laughing about it. But the fact that it happened multiple times, and then again, it was Spa as well.
Yeah, he's not had a good time of it, poor old Adrian Gretsch, especially the fact that we've caught it on camera as well. So, yeah, a lot of incidents and accidents going on, and for him, unfortunately. So, but you know, good to see he's still on the race circuit.
Yeah, indeed. And drivers that are continuing to have good nights at the office. Foster, plus 17 spots at the moment. Actually, I think he might be plus 18 spots at the moment, from 31st to 13. Brock Kadai's done reasonably well, although he's just gone through a pit stop cycle at this point in time. Plus 18 though for Greg Brooks. Good job thus far. Jamie Saxon plus 16 spots as well to be inside the top 10. That's a phenomenal drive.
Yeah, he's done a great job there as well. But as they stand at the moment in the elites, Dean Mackay would still be out in front by 110 points in that. And then in the Challenger, Jamie Saxon would be opening up a 160 point gap. So, yeah, great job from them for the Challengers. And obviously Jamie Saxon and Isaac Curtis. And then in the elites, Dean Mackay will be leading the way.
Still just on the outside of the 1 hour mark to go. Hour and 4 minutes at this point in time. So we are coming up on halfway. As it stands. But, yeah, right now, I mean, Dean Mackay has managed to pull out that 5-second margin over Stu Shaw, but it's 15 seconds back to third on the road, which is Tommy Wallace at the moment. So there's not necessarily anyone that's been able to go with them thus far.
Yeah, they kind of be almost stuck there. The problem with Oschersleben is it's such a difficult circuit to overtake, Scotty. Do you know what I mean? And they've got to really look at how they're going to be able to do that and how they're going to do it. Are they going to be able to do it well? It is always difficult. It's always been the same at this circuit. So they've got to look at what they're going to be able to do, I think, and how they're going to be able to do it and make sure they do it cleanly, because otherwise they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, and the other side of the coin is if you start to set up for an overtake and you can't get it done, how many spots do you lose as a result? Because that's always worthwhile keeping an eye on. Dean Mackay, race leader, is going to enter the pit lane. Stewie Shaw has just come and followed him down to the lane as well. So drivers are starting to make their way into the pit lane.
Yeah, it's kind of needed, I think, at this point, Scotty, as well. I think they're going to need to start definitely looking at coming in and seeing how they do, because otherwise they don't want to be running out of fuel, should we say, do we, really? Let's be honest with you.
We want to make it reasonably far into the race. I mean, the big thing with 70% worth of fuel is it's a guaranteed two-stopper. You can save some fuel. All you're doing is chopping time out of that final pit stop, which is relevant when you can't overtake, and you know that you just definitely can't overtake. You will save the fuel is the big key.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing, isn't it? You know, you've got to look at the situations on what they've got on board themselves. You know, you need to make sure that you're going to have the fuel to get to the end, and you need to make sure that you can do it. So this is what this race is about, Scotty. This is what it's all about, is saving the fuel and making sure that they can get to the end of the race, and trying to minimize the intake that they've got to have over the second pit stop. Some are going to be going for it. Some have reached, you know, lap, where are we at the moment, 37, and obviously Dean Mackay going in on lap 36. So see how he gets on.
But the fact that everyone else has continued on, there's a host of drivers continued on. Glenn Arnott was one of them, Sam Chapman, Greg Brooks. So these guys have actually done a really, really good job. The problem is we're still not at the hour mark, and Glenn Arnott's already entered the lane. And that was with 2 safety cars in the first hour. So it's absolutely guaranteed to be a two-stopper. We'd need another safety car sort of right about now to get that extra stop in. There'll be a few guys at the tail end of the field that went, well, why not? I may as well come and fill this car back up during the pit stop.
But why wouldn't you?
Sorry, I meant the safety car period. If you're at the tail end of the line, I mean, it's always, right? It's just an easy call. Go to the pit lane, fill the car up.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed on that one, Scotty. But yeah, a lot more people coming into the pit lane as well. Glenn Arnott, Ricky Provenzali, Jamie Saxon, Greg Brooks, Bobby Kamara, Rue Koistra. That's going to promote Eli Donaldson, who has already pitted up a few spots here. He's put himself back in 11th. So yeah, we'll have to give this a minute or so to jiggle out, I think, and jungle itself around on this one, Scotty, because I think at the end of the day, they're going to be up and down all over the place at the moment. So we'll have to see as well. And don't forget, our leader's not gone in either, Mr. Sam Chapman.
He's very, very close now. I think he has gotten past the hour mark as Sam Chapman, and he's going to keep going on as well.
Yeah, and benefited there from the safety cars on that one at the same time. So depends on where Sam decides that he wants to go in. Probably should be in and around the next lap, I would have thought. Rain Campbell coming out right behind Brooke Kadai. So Rain, after his pit stop there, is in behind Brooke Kadai currently at the moment. So these guys having a great little ding dong a little bit further down. This is battle for 16th and 17th place. So great job from everybody, really. Scotty, what are you doing on this hour mark now? You passed the hour, you've got your pit stops out of the way. You know, tell us what you're thinking about, what you're doing in the car.
Just having a think mainly about track condition, where my tyres are at, and rethinking my brake bias. I tend to tinker with my brake bias throughout the stint, the way I drive the car, quite a lot throughout the stint. So, you know, if I'm in a Porsche, as the stint sort of wears on, I probably want to add a little bit more front bias just back to the car. It's difficult, isn't it? Because as the fuel burns out in the Porsche, all the weight's over the front end, and your weight ends up over the rear end. But the problem you've got is that it gets spicier in the rear as the run goes on. So you sort of want to balance that out by putting a little bit more heat in the front tyres if you possibly can. You change your braking just a little bit as well and how you apply things. But that's different car to car. So a few different little bits and pieces there. Like we said, the biggest marker, make sure that I made the hour mark. If I recognise that there was a fuel window in this race, and Sam Chapman's absolutely recognised that there's a fuel window in this race, he's gold. We get another safety car from here, he's not going to have to pit again.
No. I think he'll make it on the one, but it really does depend on that. That's the difficult thing, isn't it? You're praying for something that you don't know will turn up. You know.
Yeah, but he's committed to the strategy
Rain
already.
Campbell. Oh, hit the curb, unfortunately for Rain. And went round. If you watch on his left side, he does end up hitting that curb. And then causes himself a massive load of drama as well for Rain. There's the sausage curb. And unfortunately unsettling the car, and around he goes for Rain Campbell. Not good for Rain at this moment in time.
I do wonder whether or not that might have been just a cold tyre moment or a tyre temperature trend.
He hit the sausage curb, didn't he? Yeah, well, he hit the sausage curb, Scotty, and when you put, you know, a car up on three wheels and one of them's not gripping anything, it's going to be a problem when it lands. So, yeah, for Rain Campbell, well, he stayed off that sausage curb. As Adrian Gretsch is in the pit lane on his way out. Sam Chapman is just coming into the pit lane for Sam Chapman. So he's gone over the hour mark. He's got 56 minutes remaining. That man needs a safety car, Scotty, to make sure he can get to the end.
Oh, he's tight, but it's doable. It's doable from 56 minutes to home. And it's incredibly tight. You lose a lot of fuel around here. There's a lot of time spent off throttle, and you spin lifting and coasting into a whole bunch of the corners as well. So he's doing a reasonable job. His first step of the imagination. If he can find another draft pack just to sort of sit with and just keep lifting and coasting on his run into the corners, well, he'll be doing quite all right. But he's going to need some help, I think. I just don't see him being able to make it without a little bit of help.
Yeah, I think it's going to need to, but he's not even out of the pit lane at the moment. He's on his way out now, and there's no real group in and around him that he can tag on to. I don't know if he's going to... Is he going to come out in... Oh, he's still got the dodgy pit exit, though. That's the problem when it's that 90-degree right-hander. Is he going to come out? Can he come out behind Mason? No, he comes out slots in the middle, so that's all right. That's Ben Jeffrey, Sam Chapman and James Mason. So being that middle car might not be too bad for him, Scotty.
Yeah, and now he's going to negotiate cold tyres if he's gone for a tyre swap. I would say that there was definitely 4 tyres thrown at this car, because at the point you're at, why not? That's absolutely the best move to go for.
We know the Porsche don't like cold tyres, but what we can do is bring you up the currents on that one. That's the live sheet on the right hand side there, Scotty, of where they would be in the elites after this race if they stay where they are. So Dean Mackay, you can see, currently leading the way by 140 points.
Yeah, so doing a phenomenal job, and the difficulty being for Dean Mackay, he's literally just dominating tonight, so he's got to make sure that he keeps himself focused, zeroed in on things. He's also extended that margin through the pit stop cycle as well.
Yeah, you can see there that's 140, but if you go into the Challenger class, massive gap. Jamie Saxon now 150 points out in front of Isaac Curtis. If they finish where they are right now, guys, this is the live sheet. This is obviously for us being able to predict where they are. If they finished right where they are, right at this moment in time.
So that'll at least keep us something to keep half an eye on as we get towards the tail end of this one.
Well, that will make it easier in the final round, Scotty, won't it? Because the live sheet will tell us who's going to be.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. Just taking a look around, 3rd place on the road at the moment. Stewie Shaw, he's managed to make a couple overtakes, so he's moved his way back to 3rd.
Who was that? Who was that? Might have been Roy Kush. No, not Rue. It might have been Dean Hunt on the grass there on the exit, and gee whiz, did he manage to hold it on that one. But that was going to be, yeah, very interesting situation there.
Well, Dean Hunt's got some watching back to do, and I don't think he'll be necessarily all that happy with the way things are going, unfortunately, for him here tonight. But just going to try and keep himself in contention as it currently stands and keep circulating. It's been a troublesome old night. But yeah, points are on the table, and that means you've got to just keep pushing along.
Yeah, and making sure you get some. If you can get some there. So for him, he's just got to make sure that he can get the points on the board and see how he gets on. But yeah, good, interesting race. And now this is kind of the middle section of a race, Scotty, where we put it in the analogy of, you know, Formula One, where you watch the first 10 races and first 10 laps, it's all good. Then you go and have your Sunday dinner, have a bit of a snooze, and then you wake up for the last 10 laps. And that's kind of where we're at the moment. You know, we're in that middle kind of section of the race where it's like people settling down. They're deciding now whether or not they're going to get to the end. Can they fuel save to the end? Can they not fuel save to the end? Can they, you know, move up positions? Where they're going to be on strategy? What they're going to do on tyres? And that's kind of where we're at in the race at the moment here.
Just having a look at Sam Chapman, I think he's continued on with the fuel saving strategies as well. So I think he's trying to make it to the end of the race.
Is he going to lift? He is.
That's a lot of saving that he's doing too. A lot of saving. He's got to try and make up. Whoa! Greg Brooks is facing the wrong direction.
Can he make it, Scotty?
I mean, if he can keep saving at this rate, I think he can. It's a lot of fuel to save. It's nothing short of miraculous if he can do it, but
he's not even touching.
He's not gaining spots where he is. So. Yeah. Like, if he can cut out a pit stop from where he is right now, he'd at least get back to 5th. which is a significant amount better than where he was previously. So yeah, go for it, do it. Greg Brooks just called for a tow.
That was part of that. I think he just hit the curb for Greg Brooks. And then is what we've got going on after. Now what is this? Now is this just him going off again further down? Oh, something's gone wrong. Oh. Can't really explain that one, to be honest, Scotty. That
finds the barrier.
The cockpit
I get the feeling that's hot tyres. Either hot or cold tyres is what I'm feeling. It's the rear of the car. The rear of the car's just coming around on him. And it doesn't look fast, it doesn't look slow. So it looks like he's hit the corner at about the right speed, but the rear end's just gotten away from him.
Yeah, it caused themselves all sorts of issues, unfortunately, there. So, Greg Brooks jumped back to the pits. No safety car on that one, so that was always good. But, yeah, should be exciting. Now we get to the end here, Scotty.
I mean, we're already through to 50 minutes to go on this one as well, so we're well and truly beyond the halfway mark now. Coming up on another 10 minutes from now will be 2/3 of that race distance.
Nice man in YouTube chat there as well. Come on, Koistra. And leave McClimate. No, Brooksy, he says. As poor old Greg Brooks jumps back to the pits and had his own little moment here as well. Vinny Newen, Dan Magri. Chasing him down as well. This is a battle for 8th, 7th and 8th on the racetrack there as well. So these guys continuing to fight on once more. And seeing how far they can get. The two stoppers, right, have just got to be going hell to leather about now.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if the pace comes up too far and Sam falls way too far back, then, I mean, yeah, he can make it, but is he really going to find a benefit? And well, the question that he's got to answer, and this is the really, really tough and tricky bit to do from when you're behind the steering wheel on your own, realistically, is what's it costing me in terms of lap time? And over the remaining laps, if it's 0.3, 0.4 of a second, you're going to find a gain. And that's where, you know, is it the saving? How much do I need to save? What's the margin that I need to save? That's where all of those questions sort of get asked is, you know, can I do it? It doesn't, at the end of the day, yes, can you do it in terms of the fuel saving? But there's a guy that I commentate in a league tomorrow morning, and he pulls the fuel save strategy out every week. And most of the time, he loses significantly more than he ever gains. And that's the problem is, okay, congratulations, you managed to save the fuel. What did you really get out of that? And realistically, he lost 3 places. So therefore, you know, it's a net loss on the week.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, though. The first sign of insanity is doing the same thing. Yay. Saxon going in the pit lane, and that was Dutchy. Well, pushing him down the pit lane even quicker on that one. Is that... Am I dreaming, or is that... Oh, I thought that Mustang looked like it had no windscreen on it there. Or was that just my eyes, Scotty?
I think you're dreaming.
I'm dreaming?
Windscreen's definitely there because of the window banners on the front end of it.
Maybe I need to go Specsavers.
Much like the English cricket team, I think.
Hey, they can do whatever they like. I'm not fussed about it. Dude, I don't follow cricket. You can say what you like about the... You can talk about cricket, rugby, and I wouldn't have a clue what you were talking about. You know what I mean? Not one bit.
You follow the only sport you mob are good at, which is football.
Yeah. Well, I do follow that, but not as much as I should. I'm more at the moment checking up on me, you know, my old drag racing and speedways kicking in and coming to an end. And so, yeah, been sort of more following that than I have on me football.
Do you know Kyle Larson's actually coming to Australia at the back end of this year for a whole bunch of dirt oval racing on the western side of the country?
Oh, if he's got time, why not?
Yeah. So it's I think it's between Boxing Day and New Year's. He'll be out here for a whole bunch of races. Picked up a team to run with. Been invited out. Picked up a team to run with. So, huge opportunity. I think I'm going to end up flying over there and go out and see if I can't catch a few signatures and meet him. It'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a friend at the moment who was at the Bristol race this weekend, and he sent me videos and stuff like that, and he's just like, dude, look at this. The trucks and everything that's been going around there at the moment as well. So absolutely amazing. I got him picking me up a Ryan Blaney, Danny Hamlin hat and a program of the race. So yeah, look forward to getting my hands on
Why am I
them.
not surprised you're a Denny Hamlin fan?
Danny Hamlin fan. Why is
Me
that a
too, though,
problem?
to be fair. Me too, to be fair. I actually like the way he pushes people's buttons. He clearly does it intentionally, but at the same time, you've got to have a villain. Racing does not work. The story cannot be told without a villain.
Absolutely.
And he just takes the role on board. He has no problem with running it.
No, and I think that's the thing. He just doesn't care. You know what I mean? So I love him. I think he's absolutely amazing. And I've got that little hat coming over from America, so I look forward to getting my hands on that one. Curtis here and Mitch Hobbs fighting it out for the Challenger lead. Mitch Hobbs and Isaac Curtis currently scrapping away 13th and 14th overall, but this is for the Challenger lead of this race. What do we think here, Scotty? Mitch come in and around lap 34, Isaac lap later on 35. Is Isaac going to be sitting in there behind him saving fuel, do you think? Does he really?
No. I think the thing is, from Isaac Curtis's perspective, after the tag with Owen Coleman, that's obviously cost Owen Coleman quite a lot of spaces. The big thing for him is that he needs to just go as hard as he possibly can and try and pick up as much. If he can get by Mitchell Hobbs, which 45 minutes left to run, he's got enough time to get that pass done. So the big key is, the time's there. Fuel saving's not going to net him all that much. But, if he can get clear here and get to the Challenger lead, he should be able to set sail. He's got to remember that, he's only fighting. He may not know that he's actually in second place in the Challenger class, by the way, because it doesn't really necessarily tell you that there's another Challenger car up ahead of you. So from his perspective, I'd be saying he's just going to try and pass as many cars as he possibly can.
Yeah, that gap's come down at the front of the Challenger. If it was to end where it was now, there's only 30 points gap behind Saxon and Curtis with Foz in there. So that gap is going to come down for Isaac Curtis. Does he push Mitch Hobbs for the next 45 minutes and then get the pit stops out the way? Or does he sit back and think, well, that's answering the question really, isn't it? Because Isaac Curtis is pushing hard. Yeah, he's pushing hard there.
Oh, Hobbs is actually just going to lift and let him go. So I think Mitch Hobbs just recognised, hey, he's going to be really, really aggressive around me. I'm not interested in that. I don't think Hobbs knew he was actually... Remember how I was just saying? I don't think these guys necessarily know they're leading their class.
Yeah.
So I think from Mitch Hobbs' perspective, he's gone, right, Curtis is going to get aggressive behind me. This has got a lot of risk, and it does. I don't think I'll be able to hold him off for 45 minutes if he does know that he's in the lead of the class, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't at this point in time. So he's going to go, yep, no worries. All right, I'm just going to let him go. Nice and easy. Cruising on. This guy's run me down from a mile back. He's always going to overtake me, so what's the point in fighting that?
Well, it's good pace, isn't he, to be fair? He started down in 8th overall. But Isaac Curtis is well out of place. He's down 5 on where he is at the moment in 13th. So, maybe Hobbs did make that decision and decide, look, I'm just going to let him run away and let him go for it on that one. No. Interesting strategy there.
All of that happens because remember, we just saw Isaac Curtis getting aggressive. So Isaac Curtis is effectively shown Mitchell Hobbs that he's not afraid to get out there, get aggressive, and try and make the overtake. So realistically, the job has been done because he's been willing to be a little bit aggressive, even though he didn't necessarily pull anything off. So that is still, heads up driving, and he's obviously shown pace as well.
Yeah, he is. I just jumped on board with Sam Chapman to see if he's still doing the same, and he is. So Sam's got 40 minutes though, Scotty.
Big ask. Very, very big ask, but yeah, he looks like he's on track to do it, so that's the big key.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's settling down at any point, does he, really, off that one? Now for Sam, he's got to decide, is it worth hassling around, in and around Brooke Kadai, or shall I just let Brooke go and use Brooke as quickly as I can? Oh, well, that answers that question as Brooke goes into the pit lane.
Smart. Smart, that's one way to handle it.
Yeah, jump out of the way. So, Dean Mackay's been back into the pits and he's back out. Eli Donaldson is in front of him, has only made one stop currently. Magri is the next one that's only made one. Two stoppers kind of apart from Dean Mackay's start down with Adam Jepson is the next person who's completed their second stop in this race at the moment.
Yeah, so for Jepson, still driving back through the field. Well, for Jepson, remember he had that huge moment, so he's sort of being forced to come down for his second stop, not really his control. I don't know necessarily that Adam Jepson can make it to the end, though, because he pit 6 laps ago? He might be able to. 43. He might be able to.
10 laps ago. I've got him as lap 43.
So I think that's probably a touch too far to make it home from there. So
how far did Chapman go? Chapman went on lap 40, Scotty.
Yeah, but Jepson's not saving fuel.
No, doesn't really look like it. No, it doesn't look like it for Adam Jepson, unless he's going to do something amazing going into turn 1.
Nah.
No.
He drove that car in very, very hard all the way up to the braking zone. So, yeah, no fuel saving going on for Adam Jepson. He'll have one more pit stop to do, for my money.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that one. So let's get back up to Eli Donaldson, who's got Dean Mackay tucked in right behind him at the moment. Eli holding him in. He's up 9 places, sitting in 4th. And you can see Dean Mackay, your effectively on-track leader, Scotty. Just waiting for everybody else in front to make their second pit stop.
I mean, Dean can come in whenever he likes, and he'll have control of this race no matter what happens, really. The only thing that's going to prevent that is an incident or an issue of some description, so...
Safety car. Do we need a safety car, Scotty? Is that where we're lacking right about now? We need to bring everybody in back together again.
No, the biggest problem was we had 2 very, very close together. I think the safety cars were, say, 15 minutes apart. That would have really spiced the race up, and you'd probably see some mixed strategies from there, but it was just too close together.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see how we get on, I think. See how we go here. And how much is Eli Donaldson holding up Dean Mackay? And where is that going to put Stewie Shaw? If you go into the pit lane right about now, sir, where's your rough position? Down in 8th and 9th, in between 8th and 9th, give or take there. For Stewie Shaw if he goes into the pits. Be interesting. Could be interesting if Eli can hold up Dean long enough for a gap to appear at the front that somebody might... Oh! It's Jimmy. Did he lose that on his own?
He did. He bounced over the curb, lost it all on his own.
Yeah, I think Jimmy was trying to err on the side of caution on that one and get himself out of the way, Scotty. And unfortunately hit the curb and bounced up in the air. So Eli Donaldson, Dean Mackay. Still, Eli's doing a good job defending here, but Dean's probably having a spitting feathers in the back of that car, Scotty, because he did not need this after his second pit stop.
That's the problem, isn't it? you make that second stop, you put yourself a lot deeper in terms of the pack, and then all of a sudden you've got to overtake cars. The tricky fact at the moment is that for Dean Mackay, he's actually lapped all the way up to 20 seconds. So we only have 21 cars on the lead lap at the moment. Sorry, Stu Shaw, my apologies. Dean Mackay has actually made his second stop. And Stu Shaw is leading the race as it currently stands. So, again, lapped all the way up to 20th spot.
Yeah. You see it there on the left-hand screen. Alfonso Latella, Ben Jeffrey. Jeffrey is the lap car down on that one. Dean Mackay tucked in right behind him. That's Eli Donaldson in front. That is Nommensen and Arnott just in front of that. Of course, Glenn Arnott, who Eli Donaldson is with, and he's making a very strong case for Nommensen to politely remove himself from the equation.
And he's done so now, so now cut his way through on that one. I mean, Dean Mackay had a fair bit of margin as well, so this will be eating into some of that, but it won't be as bad as necessarily I think we think either.
You don't reckon?
Well, Stu Shaw, they were 5 seconds back behind him. It was pushing out towards 10 seconds, so he's fine. He's got a lot of margin to play with.
Yeah, I'll still be interested to see on how much damage this is doing to Dean Mackay, though. Because he's had his second stop. Eli's not had his second stop yet. I'm not saying Eli's going to stop him and giving him enough gap, but he's got 33 seconds now from Dean Mackay to Stu Shaw. And Mackay's second pit lane time was about 47 seconds. And Dean Mackay is, unfortunately, your leader, just put it in the wall, Scotty.
Oh, no! What were we just saying?
Yeah. Desperate.
The only way that this could go wrong, he didn't need to get that aggressive, to be honest with you.
No.
He didn't put it in the fence, actually. He's okay with that one, just a spin, but that has got the potential to cost him enough time, so that now he has got to press on.
Mm-hmm. And that was all because we said too aggressive, and there was no need. I said he's losing time. He can physically see he was losing time. And he went for the move and expected the gap to be there, and it just wasn't. So, unfortunately for Dean Mackay, now for Stewie Shaw, Tommy Wallets, and everybody else within that 30-second mark of him, especially Tommy and Stewie, I would be in the pit lane. This time around, I would know that obviously he's had an incident. I would be in the pit lane straight away.
I'd wait longer. To be honest with you. Just let more happen because he's boiled over just a little bit. So I and the tyres could be quite not square at the moment. So I'd still be carrying this on for Stuart Shaw's perspective, because the longer you go, you give yourself an opportunity that more can happen back there. And the other thing is, think about where they've come out on track. Dean Mackay's in a whole bunch of traffic. Is Stuart Shaw in traffic? Yes, but they're recognising that it's blue flag and they're letting him go. The problem for Dean Mackay, he's racing cars back there. That's how he's ended up spun and with issues. So,
no, I agree. I do agree with you, but I don't know if this is going to jeopardise that win.
It will. It certainly will, but there's nothing he can do. He's just got to go hard now. There's nothing either of them can do. If I'm in Stu Shaw's position, I want to keep the car as light on as fuel as possible. Gives me the best opportunity to create pace. Tries to keep me out of lap traffic and actual traffic.
Dean Mackay 1:23.85 last time out. Stewie Shaw 1:23.69. So Stewie was quicker. And Greg's in YouTube chat there as well. Greg Brooks, I broke, boss, he says.
He had a torrid night. Greg Brooks was actually running Porsche Cup on Saturday night over in AOG, and he ended up in other people's incidents twice. That was not fun to see.
No.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. That was Greg Patrick. Different Greg.
Yeah, but look, let's face it, Brooks is not had a great night here tonight, right? And that's nothing us being rude or detrimental to him. He just hasn't. And he'll go away and think, okay, this wasn't for me. This wasn't my race. This wasn't my moment. So you know, he's going to have to go again, as he's got Rob Edwards in there as well for Shuey Shaw, flashing him to get him out the way as quickly as possible. And we've got the 17 car in front of that. That is Mr. Provenzali, who is just about to get himself lapped in that 700 machine in 15th place.
I mean, reasonable night actually from Ricky. It started way down towards the tail end of the field because that's just where he was on pace. He hasn't had a lot of practice, you know, a new kid. That's just how things work. But yeah, it's driven well. Cut his way through the field and kept learning. I guess that's the big key.
Getting quicker and quicker. You know, he's also getting slower, Bonadio, as well. His best times were 1:24. His last time was a 1:26. So, you know, for him, it's where he said he would be at the beginning of the race, isn't it? So, there you go. But for Jesse McMiniman and Eddie Gretsch here, they're still fighting out people coming out the pit lane in and around them guys. And that was Jesse McMinimum in front of him. McMinimum up, of course, at 20th places in and around this area. So, as Gretsch there nearly gets McMinimum in the process.
Yeah, well, now's the time to start pressing on and start trying to be aggressive for Sam Chapman, though. Still working away at trying to save enough fuel. I just get a sneaking suspicion that he's just not going to make it. Isaac Curtis is actually overtaking him now as well. Curtis has driven all the way back through to 7th.
You don't reckon Chapman could make this?
The problem is, if he doesn't make it, he's lost all this time for no gain. If he can make it, great. I mean, you know, but he's really, yeah, I don't know. For Sam, I think it's just it's such a big ask, and the fact that he's the only one doing it says to me that I don't necessarily think it's possible.
Maybe.
If it was possible, somebody else would be doing it.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like many people are, if any, to be honest with you. This is Wallace and Mitch Hobbs. This is not for a battling class, but it is a battle on the overall there. Wallace in 8th, Mitch in 9th. Mitch in 8th, Wallace in 9th. We're getting them around the right way here as these guys continue to fight out. Owen Coleman's in a little bit of a ding-dong further down. Trent Allen's finding himself in the mix with Dean Hunt, but this is the battle near the front of the field on lap 61 with 27 minutes remaining, Sky.
Yeah, getting down towards... we're beyond the half an hour to go mark. So we're into the final quarter of the game.
Oh, there's been a shift in the elite class standings. Eli Donaldson and Dean Mackay, if they finish right where they are right now, they're tied on points.
That's what we want to see. But that's all because of Dean Mackay's pit stop. That'll get readjusted. He's going to overtake a bunch more cars yet.
No, he ain't, because he had that spin as well, isn't he?
Yeah, but the other cars, there's a bunch of cars ahead of him that haven't pit yet, so...
Well, keep an eye out. Scotty, keep an eye out. Let's see how we get on here. Tommy Wallace, Mitch Hobbs still having a nice little ding-dong further down. There is Dean Mackay, that was your net leader up until he had that incident. And it looks like Wallace has just cleared, just as we click away, he's just cleared Mitch Hobbs. So Mitch is going to have to go again. McMinimum and Gretsch still having a little bit of a battle. McMinimum just past Gretsch on that one. So McMinimum up into 13th place. Adrian Gretsch in that Ford down to 14th. But we've also got the battles in and around Glenn Arnott now and Eli Donaldson. Can Glenn afford to hold up Eli any more than he is here, Scotty? Because clearly Eli's quicker.
Yeah, well, he's closing in, isn't he? And starting to really get close. But for Glenn, I mean, I just get the feeling the tyres are starting to ail on that car. And the trouble is, for Eli, if he can get close enough, where's he going to get this job done? Because it's been so difficult. He's got to wait for a mistake from Glenn. Unfortunately, that's about all he can hope for. needs a huge pace offset just to try and get close and get that move done. So, yeah, he's just going to keep working away at him.
Do wonder if this should be a swap.
No, he's not close enough yet. If he was right underneath the gearbox and being held up, sure. But that's not what's going on.
Eli Donaldson, car contact with Dean Mackay, no further. Oh, thank God for that. I was going to say, Stuart, what do you want if there was a penalty out there?
No penalty. No.
No further action. Now, this is the problem. Glenn or not, look where he caught Stefan Mellis in the background there. Through the S's and now through the right-hander. Stefan's going to be praying he can get onto the start-finish straight out the way. And then he'll just pull that car to the side. And let these guys go through, I think, on this one, as Glenn Arnott and Eli Donaldson. Should be clearing. There you go, Stefan Mellis keeping the car to the right-hand side there. Good job from him. And Eli and Glenn both go through. There's somebody off the side of the circuit. Unfortunately, that is Jimmy Middleton, has just gone that way. I'm going to presume there was a lock-up coming into that turn one, and unfortunately for him, he went off the side of the circuit. Yeah, he's back on now.
It's a good news, at least no safety car, but he's actually just lost that spot to Stefan Mellis, so... So that'll be frustrating him for Jimmy Middleton. That'll give you an opportunity to go and chase Stefan down again once more.
Yeah, be going to have some fun chasing down Stefan Mellis, can't he? But Eli Donaldson and with Glenn Arnott there, Dean Mackay taking a second out of him, Scotty. Taking a second out of him.
Yeah, and for Dean, he doesn't want to catch any more traffic. Every opportunity he can to set faster lap times as Stewie Shaw right now is crucial.
But he is going to clutch. It's got Foster in front. Then it's got Middleton in front of that. So unfortunately, and Mellis is there as well. So Dean Mackay is going to be catching these guys. And it depends on what the damage is going to do for him on lap times in conjunction with Stewie Shaw. Last time out for Stewie Shaw, 1:24.6. Dean Mackay, 1:23.77.
That's traffic. That's the first time that Stuart Shaw's really lost a whole bunch of time to Dean Mackay as well. We're just in a holding pattern. The pit stop's going to come probably about in the next 5 or 10 minutes, so we're really not sort of too far away from that one. Running the clock down to about 22 minutes left on it at this juncture.
Yeah,
starting to run out of time on the race as well.
Eli and Glenn still in that mix. We've got Vinnie Newen and Alan Dawson in pit lane. Are we expecting, or do we think Mackay's going to make from lap 51 to the end of the race? As Chris Withers, car contact with Stefan Mellis at VTP for causing incident.
Yeah, for Stefan Mellis. Yeah, it's a drive-through penalty for Stefan Mellis on that one.
And you think Dean Mackay will make it?
Dean Mackay will definitely make it. He's made his final stop. He was well after the 40 minutes to go marker, so he's comfortable. He's confident. He's in a really, really good spot. Just keeping an eye on Sam Chapman at the moment. He's dropping about a second a lap to a bunch of the cars that are in around, if not more. So the problem at the moment, he's about to be overtaken by Tommy Wallace. So Wallace is just going to drive all the way up to him, catch him, pass him, disappear into the sunset. That's the problem he's got.
Wallace has done his 2 stops.
Yeah, indeed he has.
The thing is for Sam, he's +5 on the day, Scotty. So for him, this has worked. He's gained 5 spots. But is he going to finish there?
There's more cars ahead of him that haven't pit as well, so he is going to gain some more.
Oh, kind of wants to keep it off the grass there, though, for Sam Chapman. But as Greg Brooks says in YouTube chat, Sam's going for the Hail Mary.
Yeah, and that's the problem. When you go for the Hail Mary, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Kind of working for him. He's up 5 spots, right?
At the moment, yeah, but he's going to lose one of them to Tommy Wallace here, so...
But Wallace is also going to gain spots in front, so both men could end up moving themselves up. I think we need to get politely Shuey Shaw, Glenn Arnott, Eli Donaldson in the pit lane, Isaac Curtis in the pit lane, and then see where Sam is and in and around and see what he's hoping for or what he's going to gain out of it. As I said, at the moment he's gained 5 places, so there's nothing saying that he isn't going to get a little bit more out of it. But for Sam, he's up on where he was for the start of the day.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, we just it's just one of those things where there's literally nothing we can do. We have to keep watching and keep waiting. I think that pit window is closing. I think we're only about 5 minutes away before the last of the cars will have to come to the pit lane. So it's not all that far away.
Yeah, I know. I just wonder where Sam's going to be after the pit lane cycle. I think it's just seeing where he's going to sit in and what the situation will be in and around. And Tommy's not making. Although Sam is fuel saving that we're aware of, Tommy's still not making a massive in-gain on him to be able to make the overtake on him.
Well, he will, because Sam's lifting quite massively. It's into here because you can't carry a whole bunch of speed through the corners. So instead of using the brakes, it's just lift off.
I get that. I completely get what Sam's doing. What I'm saying is Sam's lifting and saving fuel, and yet Tommy still can't get through. Do you get what I mean? Like,
yep.
It's Sam's raw pace, even though he's lifting. You know, 124.31 is his best. 125.87 for Sam Chapman. He set his best time of the race, last lap around. 124.52 for Tommy Wallace. Is Tommy now going to go and... yeah, he has to. He's got to go and send it, otherwise he's going to get stuck there.
Yeah. He just needed to figure out what was going on. As soon as he figured that he was fuel saving, just straight out and around him. So, and Sam's going to yield a lot because it's in his best interest to yield. He can't fight. But the amount of fuel he has, the biggest part about it is the amount of fuel he has to save. If it was only minor, well, you cover off the inside and you just sort of park your car there, and then you're good to go. Nobody can really overtake you, and you're probably actually okay. But the problem is because he's so far in down the hole of I need to save this much, that he's just been forced to back the lap times off so much. One of the biggest strengths of this strategy, though, is that you know how we've been losing tons of time to lap traffic every now and again? Well, Sam's already running those slower lap times, so he actually doesn't encounter anywhere near as much traffic.
Yeah.
Because the time offset to the traffic isn't as much. So, yeah, you know, one of his benefits is he's been able to run much more consistent lap times. Yeah, albeit he just doesn't have the peak speed. But whenever you're considering endurance strategy, if you're ever in a position where a fuel save strategy is possible, particularly in multi-class racing, elect for the fuel save strategy just because, again, if your lap times are slower, you literally don't encounter the traffic. It's a big part of it, and that's actually worth a bonus on your time. So,
I'm rubbish at saving fuel, Scotty, to be blatantly honest. I run it until it's empty, and then I go in the pits and fill it up, and then run it till it's empty again.
Well, see, JP, I thought you'd be great at saving fuel. I heard you were slow anyway.
I am slow, but it don't mean I like... Look, I'm used to driving around in circles, all right? As Eli Donaldson does finally go through on Glenn Arnott there. I used to drive around, I drive around in circles, Scotty. I don't really do much road racing whatsoever. I generally
all
turn
racing's
left.
Driving in circles. All racing's driving in circles.
Yes, but
just,
you know what I mean. NASCAR going left
exactly.
is different. You're such a pedantic rascal today, Scotty. I can tell you that much.
A long day, JP.
I know, dude.
It's been a long day.
I know, and we've only got 16 minutes to go. We can do this.
We got our final pit stop for the leader. I think Stewie Shaw's just been through the lane.
Yeah, he's back out again. In front of Dean Mackay, in front of Eli Donaldson, and in front of Glenn Arnott. So at the moment,
it did end up costing Dean Mackay the race lead.
Told you. Doubt me, Scotty, and yet there was too big of a gap there.
Well, he did have quite a big margin, and that's what I was sort of talking to, was that the margin was actually quite high, that he had an opportunity. The other side of that coin is that he does have enough pace on board that he may actually be able to run him back down again. The big issue for Dean Mackay is that Glenn Arnott and Eli Donaldson sit in the way, but they'll only be a couple laps away here from pitting. That might even be at the end of this lap. So
it's going to be here. This is going to be the thing. If he doesn't gain something, all of this will go to pop if Sam has to go into the pit lane.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If he does have to go in the lane, though, it'll be just a splash.
Yeah, but
it's a second worth of fuel rather than, you know, the extra 20 or so that everyone else has had to take.
But this pit lane is such a rascal, I'm going to put it in that way, to get in. It's going to lose a bunch of time.
Well, it's the difficulty is not getting into the lane, it's getting out of the lane. That's where the time loss is.
Yeah, so it's going to make more sense from his point of view, hopefully not coming in, if he can really get to the end. Otherwise, all of what he's done for 2 hours has just been for a waste of time.
Yep. But that's endurance racing. That's how it works.
No, I'm just saying, if he doesn't make it, everything's just gone out the window for no reason for Sam Chapman. Now, the question for Sam will be, is he going to have the gap to get past Glenn Arnott, Eli Donaldson?
Should be able to.
You said that about Stewie Shaw and Dean Mackay, and look how that one turned out.
Yeah, it's a little bit closer in terms of things. I think Sam Chapman's, at the moment, he's 29 seconds off the race lead, and he's about they're about 3 to 4 seconds further back off of the race lead, so he's got about 25, 26 seconds. The transit through the pit lane's about going to be, for these guys that haven't come in yet, it's 30 to 40 seconds. So should be covered. Should be covered quite simply.
Okay, well, let's see on that one. Go Stewie, says Leaf in YouTube chat there as well. Eli Donaldson and Glenn Arnott swap places, but it could be the fact that Donaldson's in the pits. So where is this man going to be in conjunction with Donaldson? And he's only coming through the S's at this moment in time here, Scotty. I don't believe... Is Eli stopped yet? No,
yeah,
only just stopped. Sam's coming around the final corner. Eli's not out. So both Sam and Tommy should clear Donaldson there, but it's what the gap is he going to have over Donaldson, who is on his way out, to make sure that he doesn't get caught by Donaldson once he comes out.
Yeah, but Donaldson's got that maniac right-hander in the pit lane to navigate, so he's going to come out about 7 seconds or so behind is Eli Donaldson. So there is some work to be done, but if he's making a second a lap, and Chapman's starting to drop his lap times back again, so he might have done the majority of the saving, he might be a little bit better in terms of the fuel at the moment. If that's the case, he can bring the lap times back down, well, all of a sudden, you know, he's managed to do what he needed to do. The problem is, where does Jepson sit? I wonder whether or not Jepson might have actually been saving once he recognised that it was potentially possible. 3 laps longer than Sam Chapman at the last pit stop is a significant margin. That's not insignificant to sit here and go, oh, he's definitely going to make it, or he's definitely not going to make it. But yeah, so he's definitely relevant to this equation, I would say. Yeah,
and I agree with you, and I think you are right. And it's going to be where Jepson's going to be nestled in. Is he going to? The problem is he going to catch Chapman? He's 4.5 seconds down the road. He's closed in about 3 tenths over the first half of this lap already, should we say, or first 3/4 of the lap, as they're coming to the end. And I think this is going to reflect drastically in this last lap time for Sam Chapman. What is the situation with Jepson? To be fair, Sam Chapman 1:24.89. Jepson only a 1:24.67. The only 2 tenths for Adam Jepson.
Jepson's still got some saving to do, but not as much is what that suggests to me. So lift and coast is definitely there. It's just not as extreme. So, but the critical factor will be Eli Donaldson when he catches up to Adam Jepson. And remember, Donaldson was further up the road than Glenn Arnott was. So, but Glenn Arnott's gone a lot further in terms of this pit window. So if Glenn can turn it back around and you know, undercut him with the fuel saving, well, Glenn pops out ahead of this little group who are all battling away to try and get to the end. And that's critical. If he can make that overtake without having to make that overtake, that's additional time he's actually gained. And here he comes into the lane.
Yeah, he's in the pit lane now.
He's at risk of coming out right on top of Adam Jepson.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I think he's going to settle right in behind Eli Donaldson, but it'll be tight.
Chapman's Wallace gone through. No, Wallace is going through now. Chapman's going through. He's just on his way. He's rolling there. Jepson's there. He's still got the 90-degree left-hander to go. Nope. Donaldson jumped him as well. And Sam Chapman at the moment, net 4th place. 9 minutes to go.
And the 3 cars that are left ahead of him now have made their final stops. So this is as high as he'll finish. The problem is, how far is he going to fall? 10 minutes on the clock.
10 minutes on the clock. Last lap times between Chapman and Wallace. Wallace was obviously quicker. Jepson and Chapman. Chapman was nearly 1 second slower than Jepson. The problem is for Chapman, he's bringing Donaldson and Arnott along with him.
Yeah, but all 3 of those drivers are going to end up in a big old scrap, and that actually works again back in Sam Chapman's favour. So he wants to see them fighting. That really helps him out.
But they're not.
At the moment.
I think Jepson will go up to Chapman, pass him, and then Donaldson will do the same thing. If Eli's got any sense about now, he'll know if he scraps Jepson, Chapman's could be gone up the road. So he's now got to look at it and go, right, well, I might as well sit here for a minute, give Jepson a couple of laps to see if we can get hold of Chapman, who's there, who currently has got a back marker in front of him as well, which is McCamley. So if he doesn't clear him quick enough for Chapman, Jepson and Donaldson are going to be on top of him. And I don't think Donaldson's going to be stupid enough to try and fight Jepson until they can get past Chapman.
I mean, I think Donaldson's actually got to send it as soon as possible, to be honest with you. I don't think he can wait.
I think he has to wait. At the moment, Jepson's pulling him up to Chapman at a rapid rate of knots, and that back marker has only just got out of the way as well.
Yeah, but Sam's saving a lot of fuel, so the problem being every single time they're going towards the braking zone is a big lift. So this will be a really slow lap for Sam Chapman. Adam Jepson's going to get to the back marker. Donaldson's still closing, but he's not quite there and still not able to do it. Look, to be honest with you, Donaldson needs every available opportunity to him. If he's going to start denying opportunities, he's going to run out of time. So as soon as he gets there, he's going to have a crack.
Yeah, but you can see Jepson's on the lights. He needs that Porsche out the way. He needs McCamley out the way quick as possible. McCamley's got a perfect opportunity. If he goes to the right-hand side now, he can lift out the way. He is not doing that. Jepson's going to be hard on the lights. McCamley does make it through. The gap from Jepson to Chapman now 1.8. Chapman's cleared Mellis in front as well. So Sam at the moment reminds me of an individual climbing Mount Everest at one face, hanging on by his fingertips at this moment in time. The only thing going for Chapman is the traffic that's in the mix for him. He's clearing the traffic a lot quicker than the guys in and around him. So that's his only saving grace at this moment in time for Sam Chapman.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, he's now going to catch up on a Dean Hunt as well, and the traffic. What the traffic is doing is, it's not necessarily the fact that he's clearing the traffic at a rate of knots. It's just that the traffic is sort of stalling everyone else's momentum. And he hasn't got momentum, so he's not losing as much time because he wasn't really making time. So that's effectively what's going on there. I am curious about what Dean Hunt will do, because Dean's just made a fair few overtakes. And is running lap pace that's not terrible. He's just been out of sequence in terms of where he is.
The problem is Chapman is still looking like he's a little bit quicker. So at that moment in time, Hunt needs to be shifting. You can see Jepson already on the light saying, look, please get us out the way here because we are closing, but every time we close up, we get held up. The problem for Chapman now is there's nothing in front of him to be able to rely on holding these guys up because that traffic has aided him. He cleared them. They caught him in Jepson and Donaldson caught him in rubbish spots and haven't cleared him. Like they still haven't cleared Hunt, while Chapman kind of is not bolted off down the road, but he's making out road, should we say, to try and get away from him.
Well, all still to play for in the final few moments inside of our top 5. And we're under 5 minutes to run now to the checkered flag. The guys on the hunt: Adam Jepson, Eli Donaldson, Glenn Arnott. Arno has been not really able to make all that much time. They'll clear a little bit more of the traffic. There will be some traffic to the end of the race, but it won't be a lot. You're right. And now for the first time, Eli Donaldson's just about gotten in and underneath in the back rudder shot for Adam Jepson. He is really starting to close up.
He is, but Chapman's now in a position where he's got his back end exposed at the moment. There's nothing in between him and Jepson and Donaldson. Again, Donaldson's now got to decide, where do I do? What do I do? Do I pull him in? Do I stay there for a lap? Let him get me up to the back of Chapman. We know Chapman's bordering on the line of running on fumes at this moment in time. So how much longer can he go doing this? There's got to be a crossover point at some point for Chapman where he's got to go, right, I've got enough, I'm going. But at the moment, he ain't doing that. He's not showing us that he's got enough. He's still showing us that he's still saving until the very end of the race. You know, there's no crossover for him, Scotty.
Well, at the moment, Jepson now getting into around about a second off the rear bumper of Sam Chapman. The top 3 as they stand on the road. Stuart Shaw from Dean Mackay. Mackay has been making a little bit of time, but he is going to run out of time. He's about 4 seconds behind now. Tommy Wallace sits in 3rd place, has done a reasonable job. And then this battle, 39 seconds back off of the race lead for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th on the road. Sam Chapman just ran a 24.8.
Yep. He was quicker than the guys behind.
He matched Tommy Wallace ahead as well, so...
Just seeing if this is not going to be the last lap. It's going to be one and one more here. But as Chapman now got to that crossover point that we spoke about and now can go.
Well, no, because he just fuel saved majorly on the run of the hairpin. So.
Everything I said on that one, Scotty, just went out the window as soon as we went on board. Yeah. Chapman was still doing the same thing. Oh, Chapman needs that car. He needs that 33, who's in 33rd place there. He needs Kurt Nomerson to do 2 things. A, get out the way, and B, get in the way, all at the same time. As Nomerson there nearly loses it. Chapman needs him to get out the way quick, but also kind of get in the way for the guys behind him.
I think he's going to catch him at a reasonably appropriate time, too.
Depends if Nomerson notices he's behind.
Yeah, well, he just pulled to the left-hand side of the road. That says, yeah, I'm aware. Oh, boy. Just about got turned off the front end there, and Nomerson... No, Adam Jepson runs it wide at turn 1 and turn 2. All of a sudden, that's going to decide that one. Eli Donaldson gets a freebie.
Oh... What happened to Jepson? Was this a Nomerson thing in the middle? He should have broke earlier. I've got to agree. I'm sorry. You've literally just caused carnage and you didn't even brake. No, dude, that's just bad. Bad awareness. And he's still there now.
Owen Coleman somehow ended up off the lead lap, by the way. And down in 23rd, so Coleman's had some sort of drama at some point.
Well,
Didn't even see that.
Chapman might hold on here. Last lap of the race. Stewie Shaw's going to... Yeah. That's Rob Edwards off the side of the circuit there.
Well, Stewie Shaw on the run to home. Comes through the triple left. Sam Chapman is saving more and more and more fuel. I think he had enough for the previous lap. I don't know if he's going to get home on this one. He had to lift even earlier on this run down to number 1.
And he's got
Sam
Eli
Chapman
Donaldson
in a lot of trouble now because Eli Donaldson's managed to close in. Glenn's coming at him as well. In the meantime, Stuart Shaw on the run down to the final couple of corners. Through the Almond curve and chicane for the final time. On the run to Bauer curve and then Zeppelin curve to bring him home. Got a little bit lucky with how things ran through the middle stint of the race, but that is car racing. But for Stuart Shaw, he'll line it up out of the final corner, get to the start-finish line and win one from Dean Mackay. And now we watch with bated breath as Sam Chapman does his best fuel-saving efforts, and Eli Donaldson just about made contact with the rear end of the number 11 car. Chapman's going to pull to the right-hand side of the road. If he's got fuel, he's starting to try and burn it. He's still going to have to lift and carry it in. Donaldson not quite able to get there. Still struggling to try and get close. He's going to have a dive. I don't know if he's going to cough and splutter out of the final couple corners. Not quite close enough for a dive at the last corner. Has Chapman got enough to run it all the way out to the line? I wouldn't follow him. And indeed he does.
Oh.
So he hangs on.
Bated breath for Sam Chapman there. Stellar job on that one. Isaac Curtis is going to come over for the Challenger class and take that victory as well. He's looked strong all day, to be fair, for Isaac, and he's battled his way back through the issues that he's had. Still currently, as they are though, I'll wait for it to update, but it still looks like Mr. Saxon could be still in front of Mr. Curtis.
Yeah, and that is going to be how they finish. Just about the fields cut their way through. I think there's a couple cars still circulating around 30th, 19th, 31st, 21st, 28th, and 35th still doing racing laps at this point in time. But gets it down to the end of the race, and after 2 racing hours, Dean Mackay might have been the fastest car tonight, and everyone was struggling to catch him, but he was not the luckiest car. And that is going to be Stewie Shaw, who gets through nice and cleanly across the 2 hours. Unluckily for Dean Mackay, home in 2nd place. Tommy Wallace manages to pick up 3rd. Sam Chapman puts on a fuel-saving masterclass to just barely hang on at the line to 4th spot. And Eli Donaldson home in 5th. Then Arno from Adam Jepson, Richard Mayer, Daniel Magri, Ben Jeffrey is going to round out your top 10. Vinnie Newen from Isaac Curtis, your winner in your Challenger class here tonight. Dawson from Dutch, James Mason, Brooke Kadai. 2nd and 3rd place in your Challenger class, Mitch Hobbs and Jamie Saxon out of your top 18. That's the first couple of drivers off the lead lap as well. So they lapped them all the way through to 15th spot. Last car on the lead lap, James Mason. So that's the results in the front half of the field. 19th and 20th is going to be Jesse McMenamin from Mark Foster. Alfonso Latella, Rick Provenzali, Owen Coleman, Rue Koistrup. Rob Edwards from Trent Allen, Benjamin Brook. And we're starting to get through the cars 2 laps down. Adrian Gretsch, Dean Hunt. Camo is going to be home in the middle there as well. Out of 30th spot, Dean Finney, Martin Hallinan. Outside of 3 laps down, Kurt Nommensen, Matt McCamley. Chris Withers, Stephen Mellis, Nick Bottrell, Jimmy Middleton. I believe we're getting into the retirement territory now. Rain Campbell did not have a great night at the office. Early finish for him. Greg Brooks, Eric Fenson, Dave Roberts, Matthew Skulls. All non-finishers, ladies and gents. And we're going to get a few words from a couple of the drivers. We'll start off with our third place driver here tonight. And we're going to be chatting to Tommy Wallace. Tommy, nice cruisy race. There wasn't a whole bunch going on back around where you were, but kept the nose clean, reasonable pace all night long, and come home in third spot, mate.
Yeah, another good result. A pretty boring race. I think I was racing back markers harder than anyone else. But no, I didn't have any pace to actually contend with the other two. Congrats to Stuart and Dean. Bad luck to Dean on that incident, but it is what it is. But yeah, good to get a good result.
In terms of things, that's 3 rounds in the books now. And I believe the next round out, we're actually going to be heading to the streets of Detroit Belle Isle. Always a challenging circuit, and that one tends to cause chaos. More safety cars on the way from there?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm looking forward to it, but love a chaotic circuit. This circuit was difficult, to say the least. Very technical, I feel, and took a lot of practice, but I'm more looking forward to Detroit. Should be a bit more fun.
All right, mate. Congratulations on the third place result here tonight. Who would you like to give a thank you and shout out to?
Just TriStar Racing. Thank you very much once again. Another good race. Congrats to Dean. And shout out to Max Verstappen. We'll speak about it outside.
You're supposed to say no comment when I ask you questions when you talk about Max Verstappen.
Yeah, I did. I've actually said too much. I'm sorry.
What you should be saying is, can I put my hand up for some free sim racing coaching? It can go towards his community service.
Exactly. With how my knee is, I would love some new pedals if anyone's listening.
Congratulations, Tommy. Have a great night, mate.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
We'll take one step further forward. We're going to be chatting to the driver out of second place here tonight. Dean Mackay pitted fairly early on that second stop, and that one, unfortunately, was what brought you undone here tonight.
Yeah. So, second pit stop came out, came behind Eli, and I was losing about a second a lap. Stuck behind him, so unfortunately, had an incident, lost about 10 seconds. But yeah, I can't be mad with P2.
In terms of things, tough and challenging night here in Germany. The track quite narrow, a lot of lap traffic to force your way through, unfortunately, tonight. That's just the nature of a shorter lap.
Yeah, absolutely. This track is very weird and very tricky to get right. I did spend a lot of time preparing for this and actually set a PB in qualifying, which was really nice. Yeah, turned out to be pretty good race overall, I reckon.
Always happy to set a PB when it matters, right at the most opportune moment. Dean Mackay, congratulations on second place here tonight. Who'd you like to thank?
Just like to thank the boys at TriStar coming out tonight. Tommy in second, and then Brock. Yeah, good on them.
Thank you very much for joining us here once again, Dean. Have a great night out. We'll see you next time out from Detroit Belle Isle.
Thanks, guys. See you then.
And finally, to tonight's race winner from the elite class, Stewie Shaw. Mate, there's a going saying in racing, I'd rather be lucky than good. And look, you had a little bit of a mix of the both of them here tonight.
Oh, I'll take luck any day for that one. I was on the wrong end of it at the start. I couldn't see Dean in my blind spot, and then he jumped, and everyone else jumped with him. So I got absolutely swamped. And then turn one incident, bit of luck there. A few penalties, bit of luck there. So yeah, I'll take it.
Mate, challenging little racetrack, this one. Really phenomenal for a lot of the slower cars, just because of the size of them, a little bit smaller. But either way, GT3s just makes this challenging, particularly with that quicker lap time as well. Minute 24 means that there's a fair bit of lap traffic, but particularly with there's so many challenging elements to the circuit as well.
Yeah, that was the biggest challenge I found. I think I got up to P13 lapping. So, and you're aware that they're racing as well. So you just hope they see you and kind of pull out at the right time. But yeah, everyone was pretty cooperative. So yeah, thanks to everyone for that.
In terms of things, next time out, we're going to be heading to the streets of Detroit Belle Isle. The circuit gets narrower, the barriers get a lot closer, and the lap time's just a touch quicker as well. Thoughts on heading there for a street circuit, something to change things up?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I think hopefully the nimble cars take the win there again, and hopefully it's the number 93, Revolutionary Racing. But yeah, keen for that one. Definitely keen.
Mate, congratulations on a race finish and a race win here tonight. Who would you like to thank?
First of all, I'd like to thank AITT. They came on just before this round. Huge thanks to them. They offer courses in esports of all things, so it's really relevant to us. Sud Speed, the gloves, wearing them today, love them. Kibby, IR Sidekick, Bunny's Builds, and Sure by 4. So yeah, thanks everyone.
Mate, congratulations, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks' time.
Cheers, guys.
And finally, we're going to jump down and have a quick chat to our Challenger class winner here tonight. Isaac Curtis made contact with Owen Coleman in the early running of that race. You had to then from there mount a charge back through the field, but a charge back through the field you made. And, mate, race win. Can't be too upset with that.
Yeah, no, I think it was a pretty good effort. I found it hard with the traffic at this track. It was a bit interesting, but no, it was a really good time. Had a good race. Thanks to Ricky for putting it on, and all the boys for racing so hard and fair. I think it was great.
A lot of space and respect was given. I mean, we actually managed to witness the pass for the Challenger class lead as well. It was on Mick Hobbs, and he just said, "Look, mate, you quicker, go on through." You know, very, very respectful. But that's just the field here, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. The team or the boys that race here are really good to race with. So it was great. I wasn't expecting Mitch to move over. I was actually quite surprised when he did, and a couple of the boys that were spotting for me were like, "Oh, he's just letting you go," and I was like, "Yeah, it's a bit odd," but I'm glad he did, and slowly got to catch up to Vinny. I tried giving him a run for it at the end, but yeah, he just had the pace and obviously difficult overtaking made it hard.
Mate, congratulations on the race win here tonight in Challenger class, and who would you like to give a thank and shout out to?
Muchly appreciated. I would like to thank all the boys at Revs for looking after me, training me up, and teaching me lots of stuff over the last couple of months. All of our sponsors, AITT, Sud Speed, Kibby, IR Sidekick, Bunny's Builds, and Sure X4. Thanks for all the support, guys. Muchly appreciated, and hopefully I'll get to talk to you again soon, Scotty.
Mate, congratulations on everything that's going on here tonight. Next round out will be Detroit Belle on the 18th of... sorry, my apologies. That's when the official practices start actually for Detroit Belle, but we'll be heading there next round out, mate. Congratulations here tonight.
Legend. Thank you very much, sir. Have a good night.
Well, that is going to wrap us up here from everything to do with round number 3 for the Game of Gear Direct Premier Endurance Racing League. Next time out, Detroit Belle on October the 20th. The street circuits will be a challenging track to master. If you want to get involved, join the Discord. Registration's still open. There's a few spots on the grid that will open up for the next round out. Might be one of the lowest entry counts you see on the season. Street circuits, they tend to challenge, and some drivers tend to go missing in action whenever we do see some of those street circuit races. Join us on October the 20th as we go racing once more for the Game of Gear Direct Premier Endurance Racing League.